Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Speed Racing Network, where we are broadcasting the Motor City Mayhem 140 for the IVCS. That's the iRacing Virtual Cup Series. I am Sean Griffith here with my broadcast partner, Superman brand Brandon Browning. How's it going, Brandon?
Oh, it's going excellent, buddy. I'm glad to be here and excited for the second time we come into the Motor City in the Irish Hills of Michigan and watch these IVCS drivers take on this amazing 2-mile track.
Well, man, they've got a little while to go. It's 140 laps. We've got 3 stages tonight. So lap 42, lap 84, and then the finish line. So we've got a lot of points to give out tonight. There's no fast repair, so everybody's got to keep it clean tonight, Brandon.
Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest thing. You know, this is one of those tracks where you really get up and you get racy alongside of one another. And even the slightest just misjudgment on the way you run the racetrack can ruin your night early. And as you said, there's a lot of laps here, but there's not a lot of time outside of tonight where drivers have to make that playoff squeeze. And we'll get into the playoff points here in just a little while. I think it's going to be an exciting one, much more exciting than the first time we went to Michigan, Sean.
Well, I know the first time that we went to Michigan, Timothy Latham won the race, but he passed Justin Boyles on the very last lap.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that was one of those things where we seen guys, you know, a lot of leaders during that race. We did have 10 different leaders the last time we were here, so a lot of opportunities for bonus points. Latham was allowed, you know, he was able to lead a big majority of that race, leading not the most laps that race, but he did lead 28 of what we ran, and we'll see if he can go back-to-back here tonight. I know there's a lot of drivers out there that they want to take this one, and they don't want to give Latham the satisfaction of sweeping the Michigan races, John.
Well, you'll see here that Latham has won 6 times already this season, so over a quarter of the races have gone to Timothy Latham. He is definitely our points leader by far, but look down there at that 16 spot, that cut line. There's still some stuff to be figured out down there.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I do want to take a moment and kind of touch on for, you know, we're back at Michigan for the second time. And, of course, as you mentioned, you know, Timothy Latham, Zach York, Oscar Jensen, Chad Genningsman, Justin Boyles, Dakota Jorgensen, Christopher Kimry. We've seen all of those guys locked in for a few weeks now. Now, Kendall LeVron, the one point that I want to make about Kendall LeVron real quick is he was last week 24th in points. He wasn't even, you know, a lot of times when you look, a lot of guys look at just that cut line, who's right above it, who's right below it. You might not have seen the name Kendall LeVron. He come up and he stole one last week. The second trip to Pocono, he was able to steal one, and I don't want to take it away from him because he ran great all night, but he did go in there and he secured his spot in. Now, on the other side of that, Sean, we're going to talk about some of these drivers that we see in white and how they fared the last time at Michigan. A lot of them, you know, going to want to make a turnaround from what they did, and some of them, you know, maybe trying to replicate what they've done. The biggest one that we see there, the one right in the mix of all of that blue, Dennis Ansman. I know Dennis Ansman he's a great driver. He's always after it. He's never, you know, one of those drivers that you count out. However, last time at Michigan, got into a little bit of issues and finished 22nd. So we know here tonight that he's going to want to turn that around, and he's going to run up through the field and try to better that position. So close with those points. You see 248 above the cut line. He's relatively close. He's been in the number of a lot of these races and had the opportunity, but things just haven't went his way. So I know he wants to turn that around and get locked in here tonight. Another driver that we know wants to do big things, sitting down there in the 18th position, Jason Tripp. Jason Tripp, same thing kind of as Ansman. He had a 20th place finish the last time at Michigan, so we know that he's been working hard, trying to ever so close to the bottom of that cut line. He's going to want to make up, you know, what he done there and turn it into something more here, put a great finish on the board and try to squeeze above that red line as we close out the regular season here. Notable guys, just above, couple above Jason Tripp, Mark Kuda. Mark Kuda last time out had 18th, so as he is holding on to that 16th and final spot in the playoffs right now, obviously going to want to better the 18th place finish to further secure that moving forward. A couple of guys here in white that had a great race at Michigan. Philip Loy in the 0-1 car. He had a 7th place finish at Michigan, so obviously Philip Loy is going to want to replicate that and make it so much easier for him. He wants to turn his name blue, as all of these guys do, Sean.
Absolutely. But if you're Mark Kuda down there on the cut line and you're coming into the final laps and you're running in about second, third place, do you push it or do you just get the nice solid finish and kind of solidify your spot in 16th?
Really, that's a question, and not to have a smart answer or anything like that. That's really a question for Mark Kuda, and the reason I say that is because it depends. We have Watkins Glen, Dover, and Daytona, 3 very different tracks left after this race here to close out the regular season. The risk with pushing it, obviously you want to push it if you can, but if you push it too far and you throw away that second, third, fourth place finish, then you're hurting, especially if you're not great at those tracks coming up. I know we have our road course ringers just like every league. Dover, it's a slick, slippery track where these drivers are going to be sliding all around. And of course at Daytona, we know, as well as the fans know, anything can happen. You know, you don't know what would happen at Daytona. So that is a really great question, and that's probably the question of the day, Sean.
Well, if you look over here to the right side of the screen, you will see what everybody's going for here. So there is money on the line. And while as much as we love iRacing and as much as we love to do it for fun, there is money here. So, and that plays into a factor as well, because when there's money on the line, you'll do just about anything to get that money. So first place for the season is going to get $235. Second place will get $100. Third place, $75. Fourth place, $50, and then on down from there. So there is money out there. Anybody that has not tried iRacing, there's some money in it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people, you know, see it. Some see it as, you know, a hobby. Some see it as just playing out video games. And both of those things are true. You know, at the end of the day, it is the world's most realistic racing simulator. Still classifies as a video game, Sean. And the opportunity to take the money and run with it is here for these drivers. They've put together a long, long season. And, you know, some people may say $235, that's not that much money. But to these drivers, that's like $235,000, Sean. These guys want the bragging rights to say, hey, I took first place. I took that $235. And back to it, you know, just as we were talking, you see there just above that, Timothy Latham is the points leader. That doesn't mean anything when the playoffs start, Sean. Any of these drivers that are in the playoffs can reach up there and steal that money away from a guy that we've seen run pretty good this season.
Yeah, and you said that it was a really long season. This is as close to real NASCAR as you're going to get in a simulation. They run the same schedule as NASCAR, the same amount of weeks. Everything is pretty much identical, and they don't use fast repairs in this league where a lot of leagues do. So it's just like in NASCAR. If you wreck, you're out.
Yeah, and that's, you know, just the smallest scrape or rub on that right front, you know, that can throw your whole race away. You know, and it's just as you said, you know, Justin Boyles and those guys have put together a fantastic, just as we said, simulation league here. You know, everything that they do is modeled after the actual series itself. And I think it's super cool. It's one of the most insane leagues that I've been a part of, and how much they've tried to replicate that feeling of being, you know, just the same as Kyle, Kurt Busch, you know, all of the guys that are in the actual series up through there, the way they feel is what they've tried to replicate here in the IVCS.
Well, and there's another wild card that's in play here. So there is a qualifier series for the IVCS, and we do have some qualifiers that made it from yesterday's race, and now they are here to race against the big boys.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of touched on. I'm glad that you brought that up here, because that is one thing that we've touched on in the past couple of weeks, and we'll kind of go over that again. The drivers you see throughout the leaderboards here, they're racing for nothing more than bragging rights this season. They will come back next season, and they'll be running for points, the same as you see the guys, you know, that we have on screen here. You have Jeffrey Marble, Thomas Rutherford, Daniel Dow, Tyler Marble, and I think that's all we have here tonight. But there are a few more guys. Now, of course, as we mentioned, that Q series, that qualifying series has been absorbed, and those guys have moved up here just to kind of run and get the feel for running with the big dogs, we'll call them, and, you know, kind of learn from them and see where they place and what they need to work on before they're on this list that we see running for points next season.
Well, they have made a splash because they've won a few of these races already, and so nobody's taking them for granted at all.
Yeah, and that's for certain. You know, that's the big shakeup in all of this. You know, you go and you look at any Xfinity Series race or the Gander Mountain Series for the trucks. You know, you get those guys that what we'll call hot seat. in those series. That doesn't mean, that they're just going to ride around at the back. If you look at, like I said, like I've always said, I'm a big Kyle Busch fan. You take Kyle Busch Motorsports. They have the ability to put someone in that truck that may not be running for points that season in the series, but they can come up there and they can spoil the show and they can win the race. And that's what we see out of a lot of these guys. We see good, hard, fast racing. And you never know if you're going to see, like a Cup Series regular, like Latham and Timothy Latham and Zach York, Oscar Jensen, those guys. You may see those guys win. You could see Tyler or Jeff Marble, Daniel Down, any of those guys win. And then you could have the surprise guys that you don't really talk about that much. They're always putting the solid runs together, maybe middle of the pack, front of the pack, here and there. But they may reach up and steal a win. And that's the beauty of the way this league is ran, Sean.
Yeah, and look at next week. Next week is not normal. It's not the same thing that we see every week where it's just left turns. Next week is the Going for Glory 60 at the Glen at Watkins Glen International. So now that is going to really test some people just 3 weeks before the cut line.
Yeah, and those are, like I said before, those are the notable racetracks that you look at. What a wonderful way to end the season, because you go to Watkins Glen next week, you're turning left, you're turning right, you're slipping, you're sliding, you're fighting for all you're worth, and then you go straight into Dover after that, and you're sliding around for all of those laps at Dover. That track, it seems like you never get grip, and after that, you follow it up with pure chaos at Daytona. Who knows who's going to come out of Daytona? We could have a wreck on the final lap that you're wadding up smoking cars coming to the finish line, fighting down on power, trying to win.
So, yeah, we could see brand new people up there in the blue. We could see people that were up with the blue guys but not quite in the playoffs yet. We could see them fall out. You just never know, and that's the beauty of this series, is it is never over until it's over.
Yeah, until that final lap when the checkered flag falls at Daytona in a few weeks, who knows who's going to fill those final spots. Obviously, for the guys in blue, that's a worry that they've thrown away. They don't have to stress about that. They don't have to worry, hey, how am I going to run here, or there? But these guys in white, you're going to see more out of them tonight and the following 3 weeks than you've probably seen out of them all season, because no one wants to go home at the end of Daytona not locked into the playoffs, Sean.
All right, well, while we still have a second here, let's see if we can pull one of those guys that's down there towards the cut line. Let's see if we can pull Jason Tripp into the broadcast booth here and just get a quick little word.
Let's see if we can grab old Tripp. Let's see here. We'll bring him up with us. Give me just 1 second here. There we go. Jason Tripp, it's Brandon and Sean in the broadcast booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jason, we've been talking this whole time about how you're just below that cut line. And so the question of the day is, if you're in second or third place towards the end of this race, are you going for the win, or are you just happy with the good finish?
I'm definitely going for the win, Sean. I would rather try and secure the win than get the 2 or 3 finish. If I get the win, I'm in. If I get the 2-3 finish, I'm still going to have to possibly battle the other guys at the back of the field here with myself.
And yeah, the biggest thing that I want to touch on, Jason, is exactly what you said. Just as we said right before we brought you up, it's so hard to tell what you're going to get these next 3 weeks, because these guys are giving it all they've got as a last-ditch effort. I definitely want to congratulate you on the season that you've put together. I know you're dying to be higher in points, and you've been working hard each and every week, and maybe tonight's your night, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really hope to have a good showing tonight. Got my team here with me. We got our crew chief here kind of helping us decide pit strategies and tires and whatnot. So hopefully it'll all turn out well, and we'll show a good finish here.
All righty, man. We'll get you right back down here. I do want to slide you a little tip of information. We're about to get right into mine and Sean's pick. I don't want to let him know yet, but I'm going to let you know as his teammate, I'm selecting Danny Dow tonight. I think tonight's the night that he punches through.
Hey, Danny Dow's got an opportunity every single night. He's a heck of a driver, and always a great pick to be in victory lane, without a doubt.
All righty, buddy. Well, I'll get you back down with your team. Good luck tonight. Take it easy the first little bit. Lock in, and we'll see you at the end, I'm sure.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Brandon, so let's take a look and see our grid here. So it looks like Dakota Jorgensen took the pole. Chad Gunnigsman is going to take second position there. Tyler Marble, one of those qualifiers, he is the younger Marble out there. He took third. Thomas Rutherford from Team SRN. He is one of those qualifiers as well. He's in 4th. And then Jeffrey Marble, the father of Tyler Marble, he is up in 5th.
We do have, moving on down the list, it looks like we're going to see Timothy Latham slide into the 6th spot. Ted Pullen seems to be the fan favorite here in the IVCS. We see him locking up the 7th spot, hoping for a great run from Ted tonight. Daniel Dow, as I said a moment ago, that is my pick for the race tonight in 8th. Zach York in 9th, and Benjamin Demostine is going to bring us out in the top 10, Sean.
Man, it is going to be an excellent race. We are getting gridded up right now. I am excited to see what happens, and take a look at Dakota Jorgensen, that beautiful vehicle there, that number 24. He is going to lead us out onto the track, and then we are going to get this party started tonight.
Yeah, and this one, I know I'm a little bit anxious up here, and I'm just broadcasting the thing, man. So I know these guys are starting to feel those nerves. They're starting to understand, maybe like we said, even though Jorgensen's locked in, he knows he's got a fast race car. He's coming down to, maybe right now these points don't matter as much to him, but in 3 weeks after tonight, all of those points are going to matter again, because even though he spent the last X amount of weeks locked in and not worrying about it, when the playoffs start, it's go time for all of those 16 drivers, Sean.
That's right. Now, you've already given us your pick, so Daniel Dow is your pick, Danny Dow. He is in the number 2 car on the screen, but it shows as, his car shows number 21. He is going to be the 2 car on the scoring. So a little bit of a mix-up there, but Danny Dow is your pick. I'm going to cheat. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to go ahead and cheat. I'm picking both of the marbles. So marbles, when they get close together, they just bring it all the way home. I have got to go with either Tyler Marble or Jeffrey Marble.
And I'm going to tell you, that is always, always, always a solid pick. And the reason I say that, I made the joke last week, they're like thunder and lightning. When you see one, you see the other. When you see the 15 car, you see the 48. You see the 48, you see the 15. I don't consider it a cheat at all. I actually like the pick. Like I said, those guys just make one another better, Sean.
All right, man, we're going to go around here, and we are going to get started. And so we're going to have Dakota Jorgensen bringing us to the green flag as soon as the pace car drops off.
All righty, Sean. Would you like to get them going, or do you want me to take the honors here?
Go for it, buddy.
All righty. We see the 24 of Jorgensen and the 9 of Gennigsman back in the front here to start this race, and Jorgensen's going to be hard on the loud pedal. Boogity, boogity, boogity. We're green at Michigan.
Got a long way to go. I hope you keep that energy up, my friend.
I'm going to try my best, man. It is a long race. And the one thing as they get settled in here I want to touch on, we're going to see a pit stop in this first stage. They cannot make it on fuel without some insane saving here. I do, as they settle out here a little bit and run their laps, I want to turn to our chat on YouTube. The guys that we have watching, it looks like we have 23 live with us now. First name I see, Joshua Medlock, my guy, my fellow broadcaster for the last few weeks, for multiple weeks here. Buddy, first of all, I hope you get to feeling better. I know you're feeling a little bit under weather. Relax, kick back, enjoy the show. We've got you covered. Moving on down, as always, the Pullens have showed up to support their guy, Ted Pullen. We have Dana Marie Chambers, and I see Mike Pullen out there in the chat. Buddy, I had some things going on, had to miss the race, but looking forward to being back with you guys in that series. And Mark Boyles said, cheering loud for that 8 car. Go, Justin. This was your track last race. Bring on the checkered. That also, Mark, is a really, really solid pick. But let's focus back on the action here, Sean. Let's see what's going on around the front of these guys.
Well, it looks like Chad Gunningsman has taken the lead away from Dakota Jorgensen, so he's going to jump out front. We've still got some 3-wide racing back there in the back, but everybody seems to be kind of patient right now.
Yeah, they're trying to just make it, come along and go along here. A lot of driving all over the track here, hard racing. Guys trying to get all they can get while those rubber on those tires is feeling good. I do see Jorgensen, though. He's not going to let his teammate Gennigsman drive away with it. He's diving back down inside here, Sean.
Well, and they're doing a good job staying off of each other, even though they are racing for position here. That's a good teammate thing to do, is just let the guy go by. He'll catch him back later, but look right behind them. Timothy Latham, our series leader, he is up there in 3rd, and he is pushing hard.
Yeah, and that's something you can expect out of that 5 car. It doesn't matter if there's 140 laps to go or if there's 4 laps to go. No one's safe from him. He's always pushing it, making these guys show truly what they have. And I'm impressed so far that we've come through, on lap 4 now, coming to 5 this time by. These guys have kept it clean with all the anticipation and the energy and those type of things on the line. I see a car surfacing that has really been strong the last few weeks, and that's Zach York and that number 49 Flying Arrows machine. He's made his way up to this front battle here, and he's not going to let them slide either. Arguably the car to beat last week with Chad Genningsman, and he's strung together a lot of great finishes throughout this season, and he continues to just chip away. He wants to be just as notable as Timothy Latham and wins. Every single time, you see that 49 running strong, that's how it's going to be throughout the race, Sean.
I got to tell you, my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, walked in. She saw that car and said, "That is my pick." And so that is how she's picking her winners.
Well, I'll tell you, I struggle a little bit every week, and the guys that I know that want it more than anyone, if I look down, and it doesn't matter what track we go to, when I'm making my pick for these races, that's someone's name that's always on my list. I'm always thinking Zach York's got it, and I like to change it up from time to time. I expect a great run out of Zach York here tonight. He did lead 29 laps the last time we come to Michigan. So who knows? Maybe he's going to top that this time, and I see more guys in the chat there pulling for the 54. Ted pulling again. I think that is absolutely awesome, guys, that you all come out and show your support. Looking forward to what we've got here. As we see about the front 8 cars, Sean, there's a little bit of separation between the front 4 and the next 4. But aside from that, you're seeing these 4 car groups surface really, and then the breakaway after 8 cars from the pack behind them.
Yeah, it's a nice 2.5 seconds, I believe, from 8th place to 9th place. So these cars are getting away from everybody, and that's just...
We do have a caution on the racetrack, so we'll have to go back and see there. Obviously, we were focusing a little bit at the front, but we will check it out and see just what happened to these guys here.
Looks like it's back here in the back. Oh, yeah, we got a little spin. Oh, man, we got some we got a lot of cars involved in that. That is not going to be pretty. We are going to jump back. We're going to try that again, see what happens. So let's go back and check it out one more time.
See, it look like the 3 car. Does Joshua Taylor maybe get in the wall there? Oh, just going to get loose behind the 18 of Greg Klein. Looked like he collected the 0-1 of Philip Loy there. Oh, some front end damage. I believe that's that Richard Springer there back with us.
So yeah, the 0-1. That's Philip Loy. He's involved. The 21 of
that's going to be
Springer.
The actual 21 of Richard Springer correct. There.
And the 77 of Mark Kuda. That's our cut line right there. Oh. So Mark Kuda is involved.
Not the start that Mark Kuda wants to see to this race here, and that's the big thing that we talked about kind of in our pre-race show. We didn't expect Mark Kuda to have this type of start to the race, and obviously we know Mark Kuda didn't expect that type of thing. Looks like that's going to be Ansman there as well. I am seeing a little bit of action there from Dennis Ansman.
Looks like he may have made it through. Let's check one more time here. Oh, no, Ansman was the one that got into
he's going to be the one that, he's going to be the one that tags in there. Kuda with nowhere to go.
Nowhere. That is such a heartbreak for somebody that is right there on the cut line. So now we've got a couple of guys out there. We have a few that need to get on that and jump at that chance.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing here. Right now, obviously we don't know the situation with Mark Kuda and really what his damage is as of yet. However, for those guys around that cut line that are in this race, Jeremy Boucher, Jason Tripp, those guys that we talked about that are on the outside looking in, this is their opportunity to pounce. You don't want to say, hey, we'll get a few here and we'll go to Watkins Glen. As we heard Jason Tripp say before the race, it's go time now. It's not go time later. If he can tick off this win here, he could put that check and turn his name blue. That's exactly what he's going to do. However, if he gets closer to the front, he can't quite get there. Every spot that he spaces himself out from that 77 of Mark Kuda are points gained moving forward. We know Jason Tripp puts in just as much hard work as anyone. Daytona, excellent. You want to use that as your last resort, Sean. You don't want to worry about that right now. That's a last-ditch effort. If you can get it before then, you want to get it before then.
Absolutely, and there's Jason Tripp right there. He did go into the pits. Only one person stayed out, and that is Justin Boyles. Justin Boyles did not pit. Everyone else has 8-lap fresher tires.
And that's the one thing that I do think is important to note here. I've got the opportunity to speak with Justin Boyles periodically throughout the weeks that we've been racing. And he knows as well as anyone, the tires are nice, the fuel is nice. Obviously, I don't think these guys took tires there, just on 6 extra sets. So that plus the one you start on is 7 tonight. Typically, you're going to run about 20 laps at least before you change tires, Sean. But Boyles knew he needed that track position, and he's willing to sacrifice a little bit of fuel mileage to maybe help him out if we get another quick caution. You know, maybe 10 more laps. These guys are going to come back down if Boyles can hold that spot at the top. Boyles obviously came out of that on the good side.
Well, let's kind of reset here. So we got Justin Boyles up in first. We have Chad Gunnigsman there in second in the 9 car. Timothy Latham in third in the 5 car. Zach York in the 49 in 4th place. So there's your top 4, and they're going to bring us back to the line this time around.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to go back at this thing there. You know, that was like almost want to say like a fueling up party, so to speak, with no pun intended. You know, you got the feel of what your race car's done for a few laps. Now you're settled back in. You've got the fuel reset, and you're about to go at it again. You know, and we're making our way now, this time down through turns number 3 and 4. These guys kind of know. They've pushed that car just a little bit. They know what they can do. Now they've got to prove it, Sean. They've got to show just what we've got.
Well, they're going to get their chance here. So the pace car dips off. Justin Boyles is going to bring us to the line. Let's see if he can get a good jump here.
Going to hang back in the box just a little bit, Sean, and they're off. The 8, the 9, the 5, the 49, the 24, they all follow of that 8 car. And the one thing that I just thought that just crossed my mind that's interesting to me about Boyles not pitting there, Sean, we see our first stage end at lap 42. The big thing with that, with the laps that they ran about 7-8 laps, and our fuel window for tonight's race is 30 to 35 laps. So some of these guys may have pitted there in hopes that the stage runs out green and they can finish this stage off without pitting again. Obviously not the case for Boyles. We will see that 8 car down pit road at some point. But I think he felt that gaining 13 spots up to the top spot was more important. Now, of course, he slides back to second. But I think he felt that that was more important than fuel at the moment, Sean.
Well, I think he's banking on another caution before that first stage is finished. And so if that does happen, and if it happens here in about 20 laps or so, that is going to be perfect timing for him.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I don't expect, if we get a later caution in this stage, I don't expect for guys to leave these tires on until the stage break. Obviously, you know, you've got almost two get-out-of-jail-free cards almost, as far as, you know, if we were playing Monopoly, because you have the stage breaks at 42 and 84. You know you're taking tires there. That's a given. So that takes 2 of your sets off the board, and you have to decide and pick and choose when you want to use the rest of those sets. And we do see Justin Boyles is making light of that strategy here. He's not letting Gunnigsman get too far away from him, Sean.
Yeah, but once again, you got to watch out for our series leader. He's back there in third, and he's going to put some pressure on. And if those tires start falling off, then Justin's going to fall backwards very quickly.
Yeah, and that's the notable thing that I see among our top 5 drivers right now is you see Flashpoint Racing. That's going to be the 9 of Gunnigsman, the 8 of Boyles, the 5 of Latham, and the 24 of Jorgensen. They've got all 4 of their cars up in the top 5 right now. They're trying to make a statement. I'm going to jump back and see what's going on a little further back, because I see there from our rear view chase cam, you see all of the racing behind these guys is just solid back to about 12th place, Sean.
Yeah, let's take a glance back and see what's going on back there. Looks like back one of my picks, Tyler Marble, he's back there in looks like 11th place, but he is pushing and he's trying to get back in there. He did lose a lot of positions there on that caution.
Yeah, and you see, just as we mentioned before, the other mark there in that United States Postal Service car right with Tyler. They're trying to methodically pick them off together. And I think here before too long, we'll see those guys surface back at the front.
And that's one of the things that those marbles do. They get together, they get around the track really quickly together, and then at the end, when it's just them left, they race it out. They don't hold anything back, but in these early stages, they're going to work together to get towards the front.
Yeah, and that's for sure. You know, right now, obviously, as they start to check off these cars, the power of 2 cars is always better than 1, especially at these tracks such as Michigan, where the draft comes so into effect. So as you see there, as they're starting to tighten in on Benjamin DeMonstein in that 97 Flying Arrows machine, well, Tyler's going to go to the high side for the minute and quiet that down. But as they typically use the bottom, when they get on the straightaways and the 97's up top and the 48 and the 15 are down low, they're creating so much speed that together they'll be able to continue to knock off those spots, Sean.
Yeah, and one of the questions that we have in the chat right now is, how is the pole sitter back in 5th? Well, he's actually back in 6th. And so he is now back in 7th. And so the reason he's doing that, he is holding back. He's trying to save those tires, I think, until he gets to that last little stretch, hoping that this thing goes green until the end of this stage.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you're exactly right. And one thing that I want to touch on is, as we're back up front here, you know, looking at the action, that 16 car that we saw that we thought maybe got a little bit of damage, he's proved us wrong. Dennis Ansman has drove that 16 car straight into 3rd place, and he's going after it tonight. He knows he's amongst those guys in blue, and his name's still white. He wants to lock it in. He wants to get the green light going into the playoffs. Looks like we do have our guys here catching a little bit of lap traffic, so that'll make that side-by-side battle between Jensen and Ansman a little more hectic here. You see, they're going to pinch down against each other. It looks like Mark Kuda in the 77 going to get clear of their way and let those guys go and continue their race. But I think that, you know, amongst the top 5 right now, all of our names are locked into the playoffs except for Dennis Ansman in that 16 car. And, you know, even if you look at your top 7, same situation. The top 7 besides Dennis Ansman are locked in right now. So I think he's proven a lot here early and testing the waters on some tires. But back to the 24 car, you're exactly right. Jorgensen, he's continuing to slide here. Maybe that car is not holding on, and maybe he just needs an adjustment. Dakota Jorgensen is an excellent driver. We'll see him, you know, on the next caution, get some tires, make some adjustments. He can make those adjustments inside of the race car, and he'll be back charging toward the front, Sean. You
know, don't look now, Brandon, but we were just talking about the marbles. They were in 10th and 11th place. Look at them now. They're up in 7th and 8th. They are taking the entire field.
And it's just back to what we were talking about, man. You know, the draft. You'll see here the 15. He'll pull up behind the 49. He'll get settled, maybe get a run off the corner, and you'll see him go back down and pick up the younger marble, Tyler. Well, he didn't have the opportunity. Zach York made sure that didn't happen, but you're right, Sean. They've been picking these guys off 3 wide already tonight on lap 20. Jeffrey Marble through the middle. Ted Pullen, the fan favorite yet again, trying to follow those marbles and maybe learn a little bit on how to get around Michigan. We do see Ansman and the 49 of York starting to fade a little bit, maybe push those tires a little hard.
Yeah, Ted Pullen in that 54 Pepsi car. He is definitely hanging in there as well. He's basically in the same starting position where he was at, but at a racetrack like this, when tires are such a big thing, that's not a bad thing to do, to stay kind of where you were, just relax. There's plenty of time to race.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And one thing that I'm trying to remember back, because it's been a while, but if I'm not mistaken, I think our Q Series driver that took Michigan isn't in this race. It's Jacob Culp, and he drove the 9 car in the Q Series. However, the marbles, Jeff and Tyler, ran a solid race at Michigan. So they're trying to show that amongst these guys here, and still continuing their charge to the front. Tyler has just cracked the top 5 now, and Jeff is in 6th. The battle's still pretty much the same up front. Oscar Jensen making a charge. He knows the marbles are coming. He's just a little about 2/10 now, maybe 3 off the back bumper of Genningsman. But we're about to have a race up front really quick, Sean.
Yeah, definitely, because they are playing off of each other really well. They are saving fuel by doing that. They are actually not having to push their cars as hard, so that kind of saves tires a little bit. They are really in a good position.
Yeah, and I think that was a strong, solid pick by you tonight. And like I said, these guys have all just showed out, you know, the qualifying series drivers, and they're really making their way right now. As far as spots gained go, Since the drop of the green flag, we still see Justin Boyles in third, holding a positive 11 spot. Tyler Marble's down 2 from where he started, and I don't think he's happy with that. He's not content until that 48 car is clearing in the lead.
Well, we haven't talked about Oscar Jensen at all, hardly, but he's up 11 spots as well. He's up there in second, challenging for the lead.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. You know, we talk about Oscar Jensen, and he's always took that number 51 machine, and he's put together great, solid runs. But here, as of late, Oscar's been doing just that. He's putting together solid runs. He hasn't been up leading these things and challenging for the wins. You know, he hasn't been in the notable drivers, so to speak. And that's not like Oscar Jensen at all. Oscar is one of the top drivers in this series in the IVCS. And he shows that each and every week, no matter where they go. The challenges, you know, he's coming out on top of those. And he doesn't want Chad to run away and steal the show. As a matter of fact, the fastest lap on the racetrack right now as we run goes to Oscar Jensen in that number 51, Sean.
So he's going to be challenging here really, really shortly. He's going to go after Chad. I'm going to talk about consistency here just a second as he goes for the lead on the inside.
And right on cue.
So
he's going to slide down in the corner, clear the 9 car. Chad said, you know what? We're on lap 24. Oh, we're going to see Timothy Latham there off of 4 get just a hair loose as Boyles is going to squeak back by him. And it's been crazy racing, you know, 2 by 2 by 2. It seems like now where those cars are always have someone in the draft, or in this case, it's 2 by 3 by 2. It's crazy to think that these guys are closing in on what they've worked so hard for in the playoffs just a few weeks out.
Well, you know, we talked about consistency with Oscar. I'll tell you another driver that's out there that's one of the qualifiers that is also just as consistent. His name is Thomas Rutherford, back here in the number 4 Dent Wizard car for Speed Racing Network for Team SRN. He is back there. He is one of those drivers that just hangs in, and he's always somewhere in the mix, and he's ready to pounce whatever he has to.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. I've gotten to know Thomas pretty well. I know he joined you in the booth on Sunday nights for our Mid-South Madness series, but in Season 1, I learned a lot about Thomas Rutherford. He's one of those drivers who doesn't go out and push the issue early. You know, even early in the season, he'll rack up some good, solid finishes, but he's learning. He's learning the drivers around him. He's learning how they race and when he can pounce and when he can make those moves. And he's always, like you said, he's one. I've always referred to him as the Iron Man, because he doesn't make mistakes. Like, he's just solid. And if he does make a mistake, it's far and few between. And I look for him to make his way up here. And, you know, we talk about the qualifying series drivers. He doesn't want any of those. Oh, well, let's jump back up front real quick, Sean, because we've got another side-by-side battle. Chad changed his mind. He did not want Oscar Jensen to run away with this.
Yeah, but they're running away with it together. They're opening up a second lead on Timothy Latham.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing there is if you really hone in.
We have a caution. Sorry to interrupt you. We have a caution. Let's go back and check out what is going on.
Just from what I'm hearing,
yeah, it looks like Greg Klein.
Believe, just as we mentioned it, Thomas Rutherford maybe got into him a little bit from what I'm hearing. We'll take a look here and see.
Let's see if we can't. I saw them fall off. Yeah, Thomas Rutherford involved. Looks like Greg Klein involved. The number 24.
Dakota
Jorgensen, our pole sitter. Yeah, he is involved as well. So we'll go back and we'll check and see what happened there one more time. It just looks. It looks like Thomas had the line. And it looks like Greg Klein may have gotten into him. We'll back that up and check that out a little bit more.
Yeah, looked a little too close to call net code there. We'll have to watch it again.
Let's try it. Here we go.
Just watching it. Yeah, it looks like maybe spotter or miscommunication there, maybe giving the clear go-ahead to Thomas in that number 44 machine. I know it shows 4 on the card. Jeremy Boucher is actually the 4. Thomas Rutherford's going to be the 44 on your standings bar. So maybe a little bit of miscommunication, maybe mistimed there. Oh,
we're gonna take a look. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at this a little bit slow motion. So Klein is kind of up against the wall, not really anywhere that he can go except for down. But at the same time, I mean, that Thomas Rutherford is up there, so I think that Klein has to break there. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't even know if braking was needed. Maybe just a little bit of lifting. It's really early in. We're just part of the way into this race here, looking at lap 29 now. I think for sure, I do agree. I think maybe lifting out of the throttle there wouldn't have been a bad idea. Maybe saying, hey, Thomas, you go ahead, Mr. Rutherford, and you take that spot and you run away with it.
And we see the battle off of pit row. But right out front, we have Chad Gunningsman has not pitted. So we actually have the top 6 have not pitted. So Chad Gunningsman, Timothy Latham, both of the marbles, Tyler and Jeffrey, Ted Pullen, and then Jason Tripp, the guy that's on the cut line. None of them pitted.
We're actually going to have the top 5 stay out there. I did see Oscar, who was running in second. He did actually pit there. So we'll see if he took tires, maybe trying to take a stage win. But he is going to restart in 6th, so he was the first to lead the charge. Boyles also was in the top 5. I think he was running 4th with Latham. So we did have, though, as you said, 5 drivers stay out. Of course, the marbles, we saw them pit the last time, get their fuel. They should be good to go to the end of the stage. But maybe those guys we saw pit there, not sure if they really took tires. I wouldn't imagine taking tires this close to the stage break. But who knows? Maybe they have something else in mind, Sean.
Well, I mean, if you go in first, I mean, if you're the first one into pit row, and you're this close to the stage win, and you think that those tires are going to help you shave a second off, then maybe it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, for any of these drivers, and of course, just looking now at the top 5, one of the drivers that's running in the top 5 that has something to prove, Ted Pullen. Ted Pullen has the ability, go up here and run with these guys and see what he's got. But further back from them, those guys, like you said, that wanted to shave seconds off their time. Jeremy Boucher's back in 9th. If he took tires, maybe that's his way to go get a stage point. You want to get the most points? Go up there and win the stage. That's a good start. He's just below the cut. He's the first driver outside of the playoffs right now, and he's gained some spots. He's up 14 positions, up to the 9th spot right now. Jason Tripp, as you said, same with Tripp. You go up there, you want to maximize your points, stay out. If you can fight for it, go get them.
Well, it's just a matter of making that car stick on the bottom, and I think that's what really happens here at Michigan, especially as hot as it's been all over the country. It's kind of hard to make those tires stick.
Yeah, and this is, I guarantee you, these guys make it look so good, and we'll make it quick here. They're coming through turn 3 this time to go green, but they've made it look so easy. So easy on how to make these cars stick when they drive them down in the corner as hard as they do. But this time off of 4, 12 laps until the stage break. Lap 42, Chad Gunningsman in that 9 car is going to lead us back to green. We're waiting for it. The pace car's off, and the 9 car jumps onto the loud pedal, and he's going to lead us across the stripe. Great restart on that outside line by the 5 of Timothy Latham. They're going to battle for it here. We already see just behind them
wide.
the 4 wide. These guys are taking what they can get. They know the stage is coming. Oh, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead off of 2. We're getting chaos here, and we're too early in the race for this, Sean.
Oh, man, their hearts must be pumping right now, but you got Latham on the outside. I think he might have a shot here to clear it.
He's going to, well, you see the 48 drive
and
hard down in.
Yep,
Oh.
It's got to check up, but
Oh, we're going to be 4 wide off the corner. This isn't going to work, guys. Please don't take it 5 wide. It's too early. They're going to
Boyles barely
Oh,
got to the
my
wall.
goodness.
How did they make it through there cleanly?
There are about 9 cars within 3/10 of each other right now battling for this thing. The 51 Oscar driving it in, the 49 of Zach York, the 97 of DeMonstein. Timothy Latham said, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this. 4 wide.
Oh, and
it
there
is.
he goes.
Oscar
We knew
Jensen,
it was coming.
Zach York, you struggle to do that at Daytona. You struggle to do that at Talladega. And there's just not the room for it here this early at Michigan.
Oh,
I know
you knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's something that and move of that race right there so far was the 5 car. You saw the speed drop. You saw him drop back. He said, "No, sir, I don't want a part of this."
And
So
that's
here
just
we
smart
see
driving. But you got Boyles. He just sticks his nose in there. There is nowhere to go. He taps on that 51, spins him down into York, takes out my daughter's pick for the night. Oh,
just looking at it, I think the 49 that's the extent of his damage. I think he's going to get it woed up here. Oscar, good job. Neither one of those guys really, I don't think. Oh, the slide right here. Hopefully Zach can get it slowed down.
Looks like he's. Oh, that might hurt a little bit. But
that might hurt a little bit. Not as bad as that inside wall was going to hurt. So that's good to see.
I mean, he's still back out there on the track, so it doesn't look like he had too much damage there. But the big loser in that one is, oh man, that was.
The big loser
painful.
there for sure is going to be
Jensen.
the 51 of Oscar Jensen. Especially, we saw him restart and rocket ship to the front. I think maybe if he took a set of tires there, those tires are going to go to waste, Sean. He slid for a while there. We know him and Zach York, and Zach York even maybe seemed like he could have took some tires. So those guys on the bad end of what happened there, obviously, sliding the tires. A couple more guys down here in the chat just watching. We see Ginger Tripp go 91. That's absolutely right. We pull for our guy Jason Tripp all the time. As always, you know, Mark Boyle, as I said, he was a newcomer. Hadn't really seen his name around the chat a whole lot, but he's here tonight. He's supporting that 8 car, and that 8 car, he's got it to the front there. Well, luckily, minimal damage there, but go ahead, Sean.
Let's talk about the 8 car. So he is the first one out there that pitted back on lap 28. He has the freshest tires out there along with Benjamin back in 3rd place. And so he has this thing. I mean, he's got a pretty good shot at taking this stage.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And the big thing that we're going to put as a marker there, and I'm sure Mark Boyles is going to be excited to hear this. By the time we get going back green, if you see up there, the lights are still on the pace car. So they're not off. We're going to at least go lap 36 going back green. Boyles with those new tires won't have more than 7 laps to run before this stage break. So, Mark, if you hang tight with us here, we might have your buddy Justin up here in the booth at the end of the stage. Oh, he said, that's my baby boy. So I'm going to guess that's the dad to Justin Boyles here. If he can hold through this chaos here, Mark, we'll have him up in the booth for an interview at the end of the stage, buddy.
Yeah, we won't bother him right now. With 1 lap to go here, we don't want to break his concentration from that. But man, we have got a great race going. We just saw some 4 wides for the lead.
And I'll tell you what, the crazy thing, I've had the pleasure of calling this IVCS series for weeks and weeks and weeks now. It was almost a first for me. Those guys thought about it for a second. They thought about 5 wide. They were close.
I mean, you see that sort of thing. You see that sort of thing on the restrictor plate races, and it doesn't work out. And now you're seeing it on something that's non-restrictor plate, and you think that it's going to work out here. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, obviously, for the 8 car of Boyles, it worked out. You know, he took it 4 wide there. It worked out. Some of those guys further back in the pack didn't really, right behind this lead group, didn't really pick up any spots from it. They poked it 4 wide, had to back out anyways. And to me, it's a little early for that. We've still got over 100 laps to go. We'll be just below 100 at the stage break, Sean. I just think it's too early for all of that.
Yeah, I mean, and you're looking at his car, there doesn't seem to be any damage to his car at all, even though he was kind of the one that stuck his nose in there. So glad to see that he made it safely through that. But he is about to get some company here with about 7 laps to go until the stage.
Yeah, he's going to have at least 20 more cars behind him that are hungry for this and ready to go. So we're going to come off turn 4. Sean, do you want to get him going this time?
Yeah, we got Justin Boyles. He is up front. He typically lays back a little bit and then takes off. And so there he goes. He laid back just a hair, and then he went for it. Now he's going to get a nice little jump.
Yeah, and he's going to have a clean restart just behind him. He's seeing all he wants to see in the mirror. The 97 and the 9 side by side. The 5 and the 15 side by side. He's trying to drive off into the sunset of this one here. And the problem with being so far out there is these guys that have the draft right here, it's going to be just like restrictor plate racing. You'll see those cars start to get up there and come for him now. It looks like, is that the 9 car yet again peeking inside of the 97? really going for it as they drive down the 97 ever so closely. I think Benjamin wants this lead here, and Boyles is showing too early to fight for it, but I don't think Boyles lays over and lets him have it.
No, and both of these cars stopped on lap 28, so both of these have relatively new tires. All of the next 5 cars behind them all stopped on lap 8 the last time, so old tires. So these two, I think, are going to be the ones that are going for the stage victory.
Yeah, and I think here you're going to see, Justin Boyles said, hey, a couple more laps. We've got about 5 to go for the stage break. I'll ride right here.
Oh, we got a yellow flag. And it looks like it may have been Jason Tripp, who is also on the cut line. Looks like we might have some damage back there. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what happened with Jason Tripp. And it just, we got another 4-wide incident there. So let me back that up and show you exactly what happened there.
A lot of left side damage there to that number 91 machine.
So it looks like the 55 gets down into Zach York there. So that's Jordan Sailors, kind of gets down in there. And then there's just nowhere for Jason Tripp to go up there on the top side. Looks like his own teammate, Danny Dow, kind of got into him a little bit. So that's kind of what I saw there from that incident. We were presented tonight by Speed Racing Network. And if you look at that 4 wide there for a second, the 91, the 2 car of Danny Dow and the 55 of Jordan Sailors, all Speed Racing Network drivers. So you don't want to see those guys 4 wide at the same time. This is the result of it, unfortunately, and Tripp's going to get the short end of the stick. Luckily, though, got a little bit of left front damage here. You're going to see from the cockpit cam, he gets it slid back around. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Takes a blow to the left side. But, Sean, it's better than a blow to the front end, to the nose of that race car.
That's true. I mean, let's take another look at that, but let's take a look at that from the point of view of Danny Dow, who was the one that got into him. So you saw him kind of coming off the corner, and it's just kind of...
You see there, the 55 was also a little sideways, so maybe Dow's... Engelkens is going to stick his nose in there. The 55 was sideways. Tripp was trying to check up a little bit. Just ran out of racing room yet again is what we're going to see here.
Yeah, essentially that was a 4-wide situation. There's just not enough room on this track to keep that going, especially when you're sliding. So, I mean, not much else you can do.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just to put it in technical terms, I guess, it's a battle of real estate. There's only so much real estate there. And that was one of those things where we're closing out this, this stage here. We've got a lot of those drivers there involved, the 91, the 55, the 93, all of those guys are not locked in. So those spots were meaning a lot, especially, trying to gain points moving forward. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of our bottom end cut line drivers having some issues here tonight.
Yeah. As it sits right now, Kuda is still 5 laps behind Tripp. So Tripp's still got a little bit of time. He's sitting in there in the pits right now, but he's still got a little bit of time to get that car fixed. I'm not sure how much damage there is.
I think the big person, or the number one person that I would like to put the emphasis on right now, and really, he's got to realize that trying to make the playoffs, now's his time. Jeremy Boucher is the driver in between Mark Kuda and Jason Tripp. We saw Mark Kuda earlier. We've seen the leaders come past him. He's a little bit down on power, not running the speed he wants to run. Now we see Tripp, who's just behind you under that cut line. You've got to go out and make it happen now if you're Jeremy Boucher. Those guys are struggling. Mark Kuda's in, you're out, Tripp's having trouble, Kuda's having trouble. It's your time to capitalize. And maybe right now Jeremy Boucher's just riding back there in 16th, not really trying to push the issue. That's totally fine. It's still a lot of laps left. The unfortunate part for some of these drivers, and this is where we kick back to the Q Series drivers, the qualifying series drivers, they're not racing for points. So if you look at the top 10 right now, 3 of those spots, it's going to be the 4th spot, the 7th spot, and the 10th spot, are all Q Series drivers who are taking up those top 10 positions that aren't getting any points out of it.
Well, I mean,
Same thing.
Yeah, this is his chance to jump up there. But the question is, does he know it?
Yeah, and that's one of the big things, that hopefully he's on top of, and I'm sure he is. Jeremy Boucher, he loves his open set races. I see him all the time, looking for more open set races and getting better and perfecting his craft as we come down the backstretch with the pace lights off. Jeremy Boucher, I'm sure, is well aware of it. He sees these guys struggling, and he says, you know what? Now's not the time. We're still early in this race. So we'll see how he capitalizes throughout the rest of the stages here, and really trying to bring that number 4 car back to the front. But this time, through turn number 3, it's going to be a 2-lap shootout to the end of this stage. The 97, Benjamin Demosthenes, leading us down this time under green. We saw the battle with Boyles, but he's going to be on the loud pedal, trying to get clear of that 8 car. The 8 car going to come to the bottom line, and we're green flag racing again, Sean.
Yeah, this is just going to be a really, really quick stint. Let's see if Boyles can catch back up to Benjamin, or if Benjamin just pulls away.
I think your pick right here might reach up there and steal this stage. He should get clear of the 9 car on the backstretch. That's Jeffrey Marble in the 15. Boyles is going to peek to the inside, but the momentum, we do see Timothy Latham shift down and go with his teammate, the 3 FPR cars, Flashpoint Racing, on the bottom, trying to bring this stage home. Maybe 1, 2, 3 here. Boyles is going to clear the 97 down into turn 3, but that 97 is going to bring a big run down the front stretch.
1 lap to go here for the stage.
Finish this lap here, and we'll have us a stage winner. Benjamin D wants it to be him. Boyles wants it to be him, but that 3rd car there just lurking in the party, hoping they stack up and have to lift. We saw him up front most of the night. That's Chad Ginnicksman in the 9 car. I'm sorry. He's going to have a huge run into 3. We're going to be 3 wide, I have a feeling, for the end of this one.
He's just going to follow along there. He's going to follow Benjamin, but Benjamin drops down low, cuts off Justin Boyles. I think that Benjamin's going to take this one.
Yeah, I believe Benjamin's going to bring this one home. He's going to lock himself in a stage 1 winner tonight at Michigan.
Great racing so far. There's the caution, the competition caution here for the stage win. So congratulations, Benjamin, on your stage 1 win.
We will catch up with Benjamin here as soon as he gets through and gets his pit stop locked down. Don't want to mess him up before his pit stop, so we'll catch him in just a moment. Great racing through stage 1, Sean. I mean, we saw all kind of different things happen there. 3 wide, 4 wide, swapping the lead, running drivers down. It's been pure chaos through the first stage.
I mean, good gracious. And you've got 19 of these guys are still out there on the lead lap. Man, just there is nothing being held back tonight at all.
No, and that goes back to one of our pre-race points of the show, so to speak. We're out of time to hold back. You know, you see guys right now surfacing at the front of this field that we've kind of seen riding almost, and not necessarily at the front. We'll say more middle of the pack. You got PJ Engelkins after his 2nd place finish last week at Pocono, currently running in the 9th spot. Jordan Sailors, he's come to party. He's up to 10th. We talked about him earlier being involved or around that wreck with Tripp and Daniel Dow and those guys. So right now, all of these guys know that it's not time to play around. They're running out of weeks to say, we'll work harder next week. You're working harder this week, and it's showing.
And you're going to see just about everybody coming down, I believe, to get some fresh tires, to get really reset. Let's get back into it. We've got another 42 laps to go before the next one. I mean, we've got some time. Ooh, what a race.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. It has been a crazy, crazy race so far, and it's not even halfway over. You know, we're still barely at a quarter of the way through this thing, and we've already had so much chaos that we don't know what's going to happen next. Now, just as you said, I don't see a single driver there that stayed out, unless maybe...
Actually, Oscar Jensen stayed out. Zach York stayed out.
Those guys just pitted after that caution, I'm sure, and took their tires. So,
yeah.
Great move by them, honestly. We see Boyles is...
Latham blows his pit.
Ooh, you hate to see that as a driver in the top 5. Maybe a mistake there, maybe some incident where I know Latham, as well as a lot of these other guys, third-party app crew chief, so maybe a little bit of an issue there where pit box a little late, but I think the 97 car is clear. So Sean, let's go ahead and catch up with our stage 1 winner. If he's in Discord here, I do see him in there. Benjamin Demosthenes. We're going to go ahead and pull him up and chat with them a little bit. Benjamin, Brandon Browning, and Sean Griffith in the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right. First of all, I want to clarify this again. Demosthenes? Demosthenes. Okay. Butchering.
We've been
completely.
messing that up all
Anyways.
night, man.
Yeah, so we'll get the most.
D. That's what Joshua did. It's going to be Ben. Don't even bother with my last name.
You got
Benjamin D. We'll roll with it.
Yeah.
So, buddy, we saw you bring that Flying Arrows machine to life later in that stage and steal one. What's the track like tonight, man?
Well, it starts out first 10 laps. It's, a lot of drafting, a lot of staying in line. Well, what we've been trying to do, we've been trying to stave tires, not push right at the beginning. Save the tires, stay behind everyone, use the draft, and then once it starts thinning out, single file, our tires should come to life and we'll, get around everyone.
Well, you've certainly showed that to us tonight, buddy. It's been excellent to watch you battle through these and kind of come through the field. We're 1 to green here, so I'll make the last question real short and quick. What's it like heading into the playoffs and getting everything prepared, making sure you're ready to go?
Well, it's a big challenge because I'm in the playoffs, but I'm still searching for that first win in IVCS. So, hoping to get that tonight. We have a really strong car. It's fast. Should get the job done. All up to me. Got to put in victory lane.
Well, I certainly think I've seen what that 97's capable of so far. I'm going to get you back down with your crew, buddy. But I think tonight might be the night, so good luck to you. Finish this one out, buddy.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to jump back up to the leader here. So Oscar Jensen did not pit once again. Now, he was involved in a little bit of a wreck a little bit earlier, and so was Zach York. So they both pitted. Yeah, they got new tires, but they're back up front now.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is those two guys were involved in the same incident together and have rebounded. We'll see how they hold now. This is the real test to see if they took any damage. But here we come off of turn 4. Stage 1's in the books. We're starting stage 2 right now. They know these guys behind them are fast. They're ready to rock and roll. And Oscar Jensen's hard on the loud pedal, bringing us to the green flag of stage number 2. Zach York to his inside, and Benjamin D right on the back bumper, Sean.
Yeah, Benjamin D just started off really pushing on Oscar Jensen there, but he's going to dip down. He's probably going to catch the draft off of Zach York here in this first turn.
Yeah, and of course, electing to go with the teammate. Now, earlier in the season, we did see the 51 a part of those Flying Arrow drivers. So that 51, kind of an affiliate team to those two. We see Justin Boyles got a shove down into the corner by the 9 car, it looked like. Got a little bit of rear end damage, but he drove that car to be straight. It could have been... It sounds like it's actually, I do want to correct myself, it does look like it was Dennis Ansman that made the contact with the 9, or with the 8, not the 9 car of Chad. But as we were saying, we saw differing strategies there. And that's where we're going to see it play out now. Ted Pullen, I know the fans are out there watching that 54 car try to take over the top 5. Let's see that 54 drive to the lead and see if we can lead a lap or two here.
And we're still 3 wide, and that's back there in 6th, 7th, and 8th place that we were 3 wide there. So, and then Marvel's going to make it 3 wide going up to challenge Ted Pullen there.
It's still super early, and these guys, I think they've thrown that out the window. Every lap is go time tonight. We know we've been to Michigan once. We know what it's like. We know what we can do, and we're going to try all we can. Man, if you just look there, you've got probably 10 cars that you could throw a blanket over that are all over each other. And the one car that's hoping they stay like that is the 9 car who just took the lead back. Chad Ginningsman drove up there and took it away. He's been so solid on new tires early in this run, and he's hoping these guys fight it out for the next 90 laps.
Man, these cars are all over the place. If you're the driver, and Brandon, you are a great driver in your own right. If you're the driver and you're in one of these races, do you check out? Do you check out kind of like Timothy Latham did there at the end of the first stage, or do you still push?
Recently I've been running more and more races, trying to get better. I do appreciate, your comment as far as being a good driver. I've learned a lot in the last month or so. And my thing is, the way I've won my races, I don't push early. I ride, just like Timothy Latham's doing. And like I said, I know Timothy in real life. I've learned a lot from him. You just ride, Sean. You save your stuff so at the end of the race, when you see these guys 3, 4 wide, 2 deep, 3 deep, they're beating and banging on each other. They're hurting their race cars. They're pushing them for what they're worth. And if you sit back and you wait, you need a couple things to fall your way. Set of tires in a fast race car. But you come up there and you steal it from them. Checking out's all nice, and you see Chad. The problem with checking out, though, is Chad is trying to do just that right now. Problem with that, when you check out and you're long gone out in the lead and you don't bring home the victory, you know what that race car was capable of. So right now, you see Boyles, he's decided to fall back behind this pack, the same as we saw Latham do. You just let him go after it right now. You're learning your car, you're adjusting your car, you're making sure it's ready, because at the end, once we cross lap 100, there's 40 laps to go, and it's time to shine.
Well, they're not leveling off back there too much. We've got a couple 2 wides back there, but we're kind of getting into a straight line. So I think people are kind of tucking in. They've still got a few laps to go here. It looks like about 32 more laps until the next stage is done. So I think they're just going to kind of ride for a few minutes here.
Yeah, and I think that's really the smart strategy. We're going to see periodic battling, and just as we mentioned Timothy Latham riding, picking off a couple spots here, pushing his way back to the front. But I think the one thing that we have to remember, Michigan is hot as can be. The tires here after about 10 laps, we're just closing in on that number now. We're on lap 53, so we have a few more laps to get there. But these tires are going to be how I would refer to it as gooey. The car's making them hot, the racetrack's making them hot, and that rubber's going to start getting a little gooey. So yes, for a moment, your grip level will go up, but then your grip level is going to go away, and you're going to see the car sliding more and handling, maybe the nose pushing a little bit. So it's good to get what you can get for the first few laps, but I think we're to the point where you see the top 10 or so have realized that we got what we got for now. We've got to settle in. We ride and let the guys around us make some mistakes.
All right, well, I'm going to put a little bit of fear in everybody. Look back towards 7th and 8th position. Look who has tagged up with each other, kind of. So Jeffrey Marble, and then right behind him, there's Tyler Marble. So if they get connected again, they're going to make another run to the front.
I hope at some point while I'm on a broadcast, I can see one of those marbles steal a win so everyone can see just how cool their victory celebration is. Those guys, it doesn't matter who wins, if it's the 48 or the 15, the other one's sitting down there at the stripe watching them burn it down. And that's one of the coolest victory lane burnout moves that I've seen. One driver that I do is running right there on screen with the marbles, and these guys that we've seen flying around and being fast. Ted Pullen continues to impress me every single week, man. He is putting together, he's working hard, he's putting these runs together, and he's shown that he can run with these guys, and we see it each and every week.
Yeah, man, he's up there now. He is down 2 spots from where he started, but like we said in the previous stage, he's one of those guys that just kind of hangs back, lets the race come to him, and then takes off when it's time.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I've just as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I've had the pleasure of running with both Ted and his dad, Mike. And they're great, super great. Oh no!
Oh,
just
my
as
goodness.
we mentioned it.
That is going to pull out a yellow flag. Definitely Dennis Ansman goes flying. Let's go back and see if we can get a replay on that with our iRacing Virtual Cup Series Rec replay. Oh my goodness, that is just, you caught that mid jump there. We will back that up and we will show that a little bit slower. And you can just see Ansman right up there against the wall, Ted Pullen coming up right behind him. And I'm not really sure what started this.
I'm hearing a little bit of driver chat here.
Oh, Ansman on the wall.
Here in the driver chat, Ansman said his screen went black about midway down the backstretch, and he had no control. He couldn't see what was going on, and unfortunately, The 54 of Ted Pullen was the next driver in line there. So a little bit of an issue for the 16. Something popped up on a screen. It caused it to go black, had a little bit of technical difficulties. But that is ultimately what resulted in him being in that spot there. So unfortunate. We go back to pre-race, though, Sean.
All right, well,
Ansman.
Hey, sorry,
Go
go ahead, please. I apologize. I got into you there.
Oh, I was just watching. I'm not really sure what that was there. Just off screen of the incident, but I'll bounce back to that in a second. Ansman was the one driver in white amongst all of the blue locked-in drivers, so you see him have a little bit of issue here. It's another one of our drivers that's working hard to get locked in that it didn't happen for so far tonight, but not really sure what I saw there as they pitted. The 48 of Tyler Marble likely going to have a black flag here. Follow the rest of the field down pit road, past the commitment cone, and then turned through the grass and went back out onto the racetrack. So not sure what happened there.
Well, let's take a look.
Do see in the chat real quick, it said no explanation other than my VR went black, couldn't see anything, and bam. Dennis Ansman, I heard a little bit of your driver chat, buddy. I hate to see that happen to you. I was hoping for a solid run. I'm pulling for you to turn that name blue, but just as you see on screen here, Sean, I'm not really sure. I know that's going to be a black flag, but it's beyond me what exactly happened there. You know, he fully committed, crossed the cone, and then all of it. Oh no, he does miss the cone. Okay, I thought that first line was the cone, but interested to see how that plays out with the admins here. Not the conventional way to fake people out of pit road, Sean.
Well, let's take a quick look, and for those viewers that are kind of squeamish, you might want to turn away because this is what Dennis Ansman saw inside his vehicle.
And as he said in the chat, he said he was in VR. I know that wasn't if your VR popped back up at the end of that one, Ansman, I know it wasn't fun to watch that car flying all over the place.
Not at all, but as you said, Jeffrey Marble and Tyler Marble both stayed out, so they are going to assume the lead here. And I say they because, again, once you get one of them up there and you have both of them side by side, I mean, there's a tough way to get back up to them.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's thunder and lightning is what I've referred to them as over in, because they're always together. And you saw the 15, he plainly stayed out. 48 saw that, he cut back through the grass, and he said, hold on, Dad, I'm staying with you. You know, so it's cool to see that they're that tight together, and we're going to have your pick, Sean, the marbles, leading us to green, so I think it's only right. This time you get us going, buddy.
Sounds good, and I told you before, I cheated on that pick by picking both of them, but you can't pick one without the other. And so that's just kind of my way of hedging my bet. So
yeah, it's unfair to choose one without the other, and you know, like I said, I don't look at it as a cheat. Let's see here. Okay, so good news for Dennis Ansman as we come through 3 here. The VR was black through all of the flipping, so he didn't enjoy that well.
Oh, okay, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. That would have made him very, very ill. All right, and here come the marbles. So Jeffrey Marble's going to get us started here on the inside, and then Tyler Marble, his son, is on the outside. And so they get started. We're going to see if they can get hooked up here. And they cross the line just about the same time. That was very well orchestrated.
That's what I was about to say. It just goes to show what we've been talking about. Man, they do everything in tandem. But I tell you what, as you look back there, as you said that you wanted to see them get hooked up, these two Flashpoint Racing race cars behind them are going to make sure that doesn't happen right now at least. Ooh, 3 wide already. 1 lap back to green. Benjamin D, we talked to him earlier. Your stage 1 winner. Peeking inside, trying to make some noise. Tyler looks like he's going to get clear. Ooh, they're stacking up on the bottom, Sean.
Man, they are all over the place. And then you have the number 9 of Chad Gunningsman kind of all by himself there in the middle. And now we're almost 4 wide. No, we're going to stay 3 wide.
Uh-oh. Maybe Jeffrey Marble, hopefully by design, he's dropped all the way back in the pack there. Maybe he decided he'd had enough racing and he just wanted to ride for a little while. Not really sure. I think he's back. It looks like he's back up to speed just watching him. But up front, it hasn't really settled down. The 51 of Oscar Jensen going to peak inside of the 48. Justin Boyles has made his way. He's coming to the inside of the 48. Something tells me these guys took some tires there, Sean.
Absolutely, they did. And again, both the marbles did not take any tires, and so they are about 13 laps older tires, and so that is going to play into effect here. But keep in mind, with the stage being where it is right now, can the rest of the guys they pitted at lap 57, they can all make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I think that maybe two of the guys that I know that are great at saving fuel are those marbles. You know, I see Tyler's gotten past now. I'd expect him to make his way to the bottom, maybe fall back to dad a little bit, try to save some fuel, and just kind of hang out. You know, there's craziness up in the front. Jeff's riding back here. He's back there with Thomas Rutherford, a couple of those other guys. Just hanging out. Not really worried about it right now. You know, just biding his time to be in it at the end. But up front, they're quite on the opposite strategy, Sean. They are not laying down. I mean, these guys are throwing, it's almost like 12 rounds in a boxing ring. They're throwing knockout punches, lead change, beating and banging, slipping and sliding. And it's not even close to over.
Well, you know, the fuel amount here will basically get you 30 to 35 laps. And if our math is right, then they're going to have 27 laps from their pit stop until the end of this stage. And so there is no holding back on fuel right now. And if you're not holding back on fuel, you might as well not hold back on tires either.
Yeah, that's certainly true. You know, you've put yourself in a spot now where you've got the tires you've got on your race car, and you got to see what happens with it. Do you have right off the top, what were the last time that we saw the marbles on pit road?
They were on lap 44, so they would have to go 40 laps on one tank of fuel. That's not going to happen. And even if it did happen, again, they have worse tires against these guys that don't have to save anything. So I have a feeling they kind of hurt themselves on that deal.
Yeah, maybe they're hoping for another caution here. Well, I think that's kind of hard to say because you really don't. They're not racing for anything. They're Q Series drivers, so stage wins are nothing more than bragging rights for them. So we do see Oscar Jensen, the 49 of Zach York, and the 97 of Benjamin D, all up in the top three here now. As I said, right now, if I'm not mistaken, and actually let me clarify on that. I know for a while that 51 was running for Montgomery Racing. However, right now, that 51 looks like he's running with the Flying Arrows yet again. So we see them 1, 2, 3 in a line, just like a bunch of fighter jets. They're followed, of course, by Justin Boyles in the Flashpoint Racing. And a notable name in the top 5, Sean, Jordan Sailors, a Speed Racing Network driver that we see in 5th right now. So obviously, we are totally impartial. We don't prefer those drivers over our other guys. We like them all, but it's good to see that 55 running in 5th right now.
It is. Now, keep in mind that he was 46 points back from the cut line, so he can't get into the cut this race. But if he still stays up front the way he's doing right now, and right now he is the biggest gainer, he's gained 19 spots. If he stays up there, then he's going to put a lot of pressure on Mark Kuda and Jason Tripp.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. But one thing that I want to touch on top of that, if you guys out there in the chat, or Sean yourself, if you watched the race last week, when we went green on that green-white checkered, we see right now, Jordan Sailors is running 5th. Last week at Pocono on a green-white checkered, Kendall LeVron restarted 6th, and he won the thing. He won that race from 6th spot, because the drivers in front of him wadded up. So right now, Jordan Sailors, you know, we've seen crazy 3-wide racing. Jordan Sailors can hold on to that 5th spot. We get a late race restart, and who knows? They wad up, and there he is. You know, he's your guy. He's the one stealing this one away, and that'll lock him in. You know, there's so many situations that can play out. I've been waiting 68 laps to say this as well. My driver, Daniel Dow, has made it to 6th, and he's challenging for those spots up there. He's trying to come forward. So he's looking forward to it. You know, he's looking for all these drivers. He's got a little bit of a gap to get up there with them, but he's starting to make a little bit of noise as we settle into the middle of this race. And right now, Sean, he's finally, for the first time, ahead of those marble drivers that you picked pre-race. So that feels good right now, but anything can happen here as we finish out this race.
Definitely. And another driver that we talked about a little bit earlier, Jeremy Boucher, he is up in 12th place. He has gained 11 spots since the start. And again, he's that driver that is on the cut line that's trying to catch Mark Kuda. Mark Kuda is about 6 laps down right now. And so this is his shot to do this. Now he just dropped a spot, so he's still gained 10 spots on the day. If he keeps that up, then he might have a shot to just close that gap.
Yeah, and right now, if you look at it, as you said, he let Greg Edney go. He's going to slide back to 13th. But the big thing is the guy in front of him right now is in 20th position. So it's that many points right now. 7 points right now that he's going to gain, and that's if he finishes where he's running now. He picks up a few more, a couple more of these cars pick up damage, and we see them, not able to finish this race. Then who knows? I do want to jump back up front real quick because I see there's a driver further back of Oscar that separated the Flying Arrows parade and starting to make his name known again. It's that 8 car right there of Justin Boyles. So he's separated the Arrows. He's charged from 4th behind these guys to 2nd, and he's trying to run down that 51 of Oscar Jensen. So
he almost lost it there.
Tell you what, if you think Justin Boyles isn't driving hard right now, I know we got Mark out there. Your boy is out here driving it for what she's worth, trying to make it to the end of this one. We saw him running, as we said, pre-race. Got passed on the last lap, the last time at Michigan. Had a great race car. He has since found victory lane. So maybe he's trying to check off another win, put another sticker above the door on the driver's side. So Justin's doing what he's got to do. But just as you say that there, you see the Flying Arrows on the bottom, making it tough on that 8 car. He doesn't have any teammates around right now. They're a little further back, a couple spots behind him, but the Flying Arrows are working and showing what teamwork's like. I do want to take a second now, if we can get through it, and kind of touch on this. You see that 49 there of Zach York on your screen. Now, Zach York is currently in the playoffs. However, when we move into the playoffs, his points will be removed. His playoff points, all the playoff points he's accrued, and Grayson Sullivan, the Flying Arrows team owner, will take over and pilot that number 49 machine for the playoffs. So what you see Zach York doing now, we'll see him for a few more weeks, and then we'll see Grayson Sullivan take over that. If I'm not mistaken, Zach York going to go back to school and further his education, which we always do support, and the IVCS does just the same. So good luck to Zach York. It's fun to see him wheel in that race car, and we'll see how it unfolds. But there you go. You got these 4 drivers coming together again. They're not really right now. They're letting Oscar pull out to a 1.2 second lead, and they're still back here throwing haymakers amongst themselves, Sean.
Yeah, there's still 10 laps to go on this stage, but look at Jordan Sailors. Jordan Sailors is going to take 4th position away from Zach York, and he is going to try to make a push.
I am super impressed with Jordan Sailors here tonight. He's another one of the drivers, just as I said, putting in the hard work, a little below the cut line. He's not always up in front making noise, but he's always driving his absolute hardest, and that's showing tonight. He's putting that great run on. He challenged there for a second for 4th place. It was on the the 49 car, Zach York.
Yeah.
So he was challenging to go to the top 4 and try to make a run, but looked like he got a little loose, pulled down, and let Zach have that. He's just going back to riding. 5th place is a great place to finish the stage here. So we'll keep an eye on Jordan Sailors, just as you said, about 9 more laps. Stage 2 will end at lap 84. So about 9 more laps here that we have to run, and maybe Jordan Sailors will keep it in the top 5 and bring home a solid spot here. And that's the big thing right there on your screen right now. The 77 at the bottom, Mark Kuda, that Jordan Sailors is working by. That's the guy at the end of the cut line. That's the guy they're all chasing.
Yep.
Matthew York in chat said Zach's going to Maine. Is that Maritime Academy?
Yeah. Maine Maritime Academy. Excellent.
I do fully support Zach in furthering his education. It's been fun for me up here in the booth to call his action. I'm hoping to see him burn that 49 car down one more time before we see him part ways with it, but I know Grayson Sullivan will take good care of that as the team owner, and he'll drive the wheels off that 49 for Zach. But Matthew York out there in chat, appreciate the help on that, because I was pretty sure of that information but didn't know all the logistics to it.
Well, that is excellent, but he's still got a little bit of burning to do if he's going to catch our leader, Oscar Jensen, who has opened up a 3/4 second lead on Justin Boyles, Benjamin D., and Zach York.
Now, that is just what you said there. Looking at the top 5 right now, Boyles has to be the fastest race car on the track right now. I'll keep an eye on their last few laps, and the reason I say that, a few laps ago, that was a 1.2 second lead, and Boyles has cut it down to just half a second now. So Boyles feels like he can get up there, but the problem is he's brought Benjamin D. and Zach York right with him as they start to close in. But the top 5 right now, Oscar Jensen up 12 spots, Justin Boyles up 12 spots, and Jordan Saylor's up 19. So these guys are really put together. Maybe not the qualifying that they wanted, but they're showing it in the race that they're where they want to be, and they're pushing hard.
Well, I got to tell you, all these guys take a lot of time during the week to test their cars, to practice, to really get out there. But I'll tell you, I talked to Justin Boyles just before the race, and he said he really hasn't had a lot of time this week to practice. So he just came in with the same set that he ran last time, which again brought him to second place last time. So it seems to be working.
Yeah, and I know I've talked with Boyles as well throughout the week, and he's been working his butt off at work, so hasn't had a whole lot of time. But hey, it goes to show the preparation he put in the last time they were at Michigan has held strong in his quest to make it to victory lane here. I know I saw his dad Mark earlier say that he felt that he had a great car, maybe the best car last time, and I'm not sure I'm going to disagree with you, Mark. Boyles he's really showed that he has the ability to run with these guys, and as a league owner, that's what you like to see, is someone out there, throwing elbows with the other guys. But I tell you what, just looking at the cars right now, we're going to check their lap times at the line and see who is the fastest of these front 4.
Just eyeballing it, it's got to be Benjamin D.
It is Benjamin D by 0.3 of a second. Oscar ran a 39.838. Benjamin ran a 39.582. So maybe we're going to have back-to-back stage winners here. He's trying to sweep it, make it look good.
He is trying to catch that draft right now on Jensen, and if he catches that, he's going to make a great run right here at the end.
Yeah, and we're coming this time. It'll be 3 to go, 4 to go this time by. Now the problem is when he gets there, he goes for that pass. He's got to make it easy. If he doesn't make it easy, that 8 car is going to be there. 49 car behind him is all going to be there. It's going to be a 4-way battle for this, and who knows? That could bring Jordan Saylors back up here and give him the ability. He's only 1.2 back. So any of these guys in the top 5 and looking back beyond him, yeah, I'd say about the top 5, Jordan, there's a little bit of gap back to Chad. So any of these top 5 here, if Benjamin D gets there and doesn't make it quick, any of the top 5 can get up there and steal this stage win.
Well, Benjamin D has caught that draft now, so he is going to put a lot of pressure on. 3 laps to go until the stage victory here. So we've still got a little bit of racing to do between those two, but don't count out Boyles or York here.
Boyles is going to make the announcement. 3 to go this time in stage number 2, just as Sean said. And they're not letting up. The top 5 drivers within a second of each other right now, Sean. It's coming together well.
Oh, and you saw Benjamin D get a little bit out of line. He's just biding his time. Now he's going to go outside. I think Oscar's going to try to cut it off. Oh, it's going to be absolutely close.
This is Boyle's chance. These cars side by side. The air on those cars is all over the place, and it's going to allow a big run from the 8 car. Here you see him starting to close the gap. 0.3 back now. Pit road has closed, so we won't see any last-second pitters. Right behind that 8 car, you've got the 49 and the 55. So this one by no means is over. Boyles has caught the back bumper of the 97 and the 49 right on his back bumper, the 59, just a 10th back of him. So who knows what's going to happen here. Should be coming to the white flag in stage 2, Sean.
Oh, we are going to have a great time on this. Boyles goes outside. He's going to try to take the high side, but he's going to have to tuck back in just underneath Oscar Jensen, but then going to the inside, Benjamin D, and his teammate is right behind him, Zach York, pushing him.
Yeah, and I think the smartest driver right now, I know we've talked about him a lot in this stage, the 55, hasn't really pushed. He's going to give these guys a chance to beat and bang for it. Maybe have to slow up in 3, get a big run. Oh, we see the 51 blink out for just a second there. Here comes Jordan on the outside following. Oh! Some squeezing going on.
And look how close this is.
Oh, I can't call a winner here of stage 2. I know the 97. They're not going to catch the lap traffic. The 51, the 8. We will see what happens here. It looks like, Oscar going to get a late run. But here comes Boyles, not going to get there.
It's going to be Oscar. It's going to be Oscar Jensen winning that stage, if I called that correctly.
I heard them come across driver chatter and agree with you. Oscar Jensen going to win stage number 2.
Whoa, let's take a deep breath now, because that was absolutely insane.
If you were wondering what the rest of this race is going to look like, that was your answer right there as they came to the line.
There were 5 drivers there that had a shot at it, and they were just shuffling all over the place. But Oscar Jensen holds it together. He had the lead by about 1.5 seconds. He barely holds on to take that stage win.
Yeah, and I think that's a big one there because, you had those drivers closing in on you. You had a bit of a lead at 1.2 seconds at some point there. And here they come. They're running down. And see, just looking at the chat, would it be possible to do an in-car cam for the 8 at some point? I tell you what, Sean, let's back it up to the finish of that stage there and see if we can maybe we have the ability to do an in-car with the 8 coming to the line?
I think we might be able to. So let's jump back.
I tell you what, while he's getting this replay pulled up here of the in-car of the 8, we have 17 people watching here tonight. Smash that like button for us. We have 19 now watching. So here we see Justin Boyles had a great battle.
Oh, so
I tell
close.
You, if this was like Talladega and you push that start-finish line on out a little bit, Boyles would have come out of there the Stage 2 winner. So there you go, Chance Taylor asking if we could do an in-car with Boyles, and I'm sure we'll get back with that 8 car running in the top 5. I'm sure we'll be back in-car with him riding around and seeing what's going on, because that was an excellent run down to the line there. That's just a little bit of a taste of what that 8 car's got going on. We do follow him now, though, down pit road. You're going to get the view from the pit box here. We'll see. A little bit of insight into the strategy of Boyles. Left or right side's up in the air. Sure, they'll come around, go ahead and feel that car back up. He's going to shift down to be ready to take off. Left side tire's going on now. And he's going to be out and away following the 51 of Oscar Jensen. So, great pit stop for the 8 car. Going to be second. Second. Going to beat the 49. And actually, still waiting to see what exactly happened with the 97. Of Demosthenes, or Benjamin D, as we call him. Trying to see where he went there, but
looks like he's coming off in 4th place there.
So a little bit of a loss for him, You think it's time, Sean? You think we should pull our stage winner there? We're going to go back-to-back with the flying arrows. So let's see if we can catch up here with Oscar Jensen, get him up here and chat with him real quick.
Oscar
Jensen.
Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, congratulations. That was a very, very close race to the line. So what exactly were you thinking on that last lap as you saw all these cars coming at you?
My thoughts were making it out for stage 1. That's all that was going through my head. Obviously we had the little incident come into the stage 1, and we're in a good position to possibly win. And I thought we had a big enough lead there, and as soon as I started to see them close in, I knew it was going to be a close battle, but I had to race. Those are some of my best friends that I had to race super hard with, and I know they're in tight points position, and that's not what I wanted to do, but, in my mind, I was making up for stage 1 there.
Yeah, and I want to chime in real quick with you, Oscar, and congratulate you on the perseverance. It's so easy to, when adversity hits like that, you fall back and you have the incident. You drove the wheels off of that thing, buddy, and I'm sure it was a fun drive back up through the field. looking forward to seeing that 51 machine here through the final stage. And good luck to you. I know, just as I said earlier, you've put together a great season so far, man. And I'll get you back down there with your team, man. Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
So I did have to cut that one a little bit short, Sean. I hated to have to cut it short, but we're on the backstretch of the final stage coming to green here. So didn't want to hold Oscar too long. And who knows, we might see him post-race in the interview. So we'll have to hold on and see.
Definitely, and so we're going to see what he can do on this restart. But you got Justin Boyles there on the outside. Both of those are up 12 positions from the start, so big, huge gainers there. But right now, the biggest gainer of them all is back there in looks like 5th place. That's Jordan Sailors. He is up 19 positions. So here we go. Oscar Jensen going to bring them to the start-finish line, and we are going to get going. He's just holding back, and now he takes off. He lulled Justin Boyles to sleep there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Watching that restart, 55 is going to be the biggest loser there on that restart. But the 49, the 8 car, didn't get the restart they wanted. Just as they closed the gap and expected Oscar to wait another second, he took off and was gone. But I tell you what, that 49 not wasting any time. He said, hey, that's fine. Restart the way you want to restart, but here I come.
And he's got help down there. He's got Benjamin D. Going to be pushing him along.
And Timothy Latham in the 5 car. Chad Gennigsman in the 9 car. We have the Flying Arrows, Flashpoint Racing back at the front. But, Sean, take a look back at the driver who just took 6th place there. The guy we talked about a little bit earlier, Jeremy Boucher. These guys have had a little bit of trouble, the guys around him in the chase race. And here he comes. It's time. It's the final stage. He's had a good season, pretty hit and miss in some states or some places, but ran as hard as he could, and he's put together good sets, and maybe tonight's his night to go up there and turn his name blue.
Yeah, but up front, we still have Oscar Jensen, who we just interviewed, and so he is going to try to put a little bit of distance on, but Justin Boyles is not going to allow it.
No, that's for sure. You won't find Boyle giving him an inch until that black and white flag drops at the end of this thing, because he is going for it just the same. Boyles is one of those guys that he loves to race. He loves a good finish, but he loves a win, John.
Well, man, who doesn't love a win? But he just loves being in that car. And so I'll tell you another guy that loves being in that car, Timothy Latham, up in 4th place now. I just saw him last night. He was winning the iRacing Virtual Truck Series.
Yeah, and that is one guy you can count on to always put on a show. And like I've said before, I'm a Kyle Busch fan myself. Timothy Latham's a Kyle Busch fan. I'm going to tell you one thing that I know for sure. The driver of that 5 machine there, as he makes his way up through the field, he'll never get into that race car to finish second. He's going out here to win every single night. 2nd place is not good for Timothy. It's good for points. It's good for sponsors. It's not good for Timothy Latham. He wants to win. And we've seen him ride, and we've seen him let off and kind of let these guys go in battle. But it's go time now, and here he comes, Sean.
Well, he's already got 6 of those wins, and he is looking for number 7 here at Michigan. He is our defending champion at this track. So he won the last time we were here at Michigan by passing Justin Boyles, who is there on his left side on the very last lap.
Yeah, and just looking, some of these guys at the...
Oh, we got contact!
Ooh. Little early for that, boys, as we're going to see a little bit of door in action there. The 97, but here comes a big run by Boucher coming underneath the 8 car. Ooh, they're going to get close. We'll see that 4 car up there in the battle in just a moment. He's going to try to click off as many points as he can and continue on his quest to make the chase here. But some of these notable guys up here at the front, of course, we saw, as we mentioned before, some of these guys didn't have such hot finishes. Oscar Jensen was one of those guys who we've seen up front now finish 21st the last time we come to the Irish Hills. So he wants redemption. He wants a better finish, and Timothy Latham's going to try to take that win away as he clears Jensen. Well, not so clear just yet. We got to wait for it, but he's trying to clear Jensen for the race lead late in this thing.
Well, we were talking about the last 2 stages, people kind of just hanging back, just letting the race come to them. Oh, as you see, Boucher. Oh, Boucher!
Oh no!
Oh,
Boucher.
he got
That-
loose. Let's
And
go back
I
and see what
will
happened there.
say, it looks like that race car might be toast. Hopefully, I don't know if he collected someone else, but
Oh, he just gets loose. Oh, and then he gets hit in the back. I'm not sure which car that was. We're going to go back and we're going to check
it's going
that
to be
out from a
Chad
different angle.
Genixman that he hits headed up the track. And then he's going to collect, is that the 07 there of Tim Hendry?
Let's find out here. So he's just going to get a little loose. You can see the smoke just burning those tires a little bit. And so he gets a little out of shape.
Overcorrection there, and he's headed up.
Yep, that's
the
Gernitzman,
9
yeah.
car.
And that puts him into the wall. He comes right off. He taps Jordan Sailors, I think.
Look like a little contact. Greg Edney, just
one of the
squeaking
marbles.
by.
Oh, and then a huge hit there for
That's
the
going
07.
to be Tim Hendry
Yep.
in the 07. So hopefully no other drivers. See Jorgensen.
Yeah, Jorgensen's already a lap or two down. Actually, he's far down. He's 40 laps down. So
He's been he's had a rough show of things here, but it goes back to show it, man. This luck for the playoff cut drivers. Obviously, the guy that's loving to see this is Mark Kuda in the 77. Mark Kuda obviously got into it early, and he had a little bit of a rough go, Sean.
I'll tell you another one that's loving it is Jordan Sailors. He might have gotten a little damage there, but I think he's going to stay on the lead lap. And so Jordan is in the catbird seat here.
I'm going to check real quick at the damage on that 55 machine. I do see him sitting on pit road at the moment. A little bit of right front damage, a little bit of right rear damage. So getting that repaired now. Hopefully it didn't cut his speed out too much, but let's see here. Yeah. Looks like he's going to be okay. So getting a little bit of repairs done on that 55 machine, though.
But going back up front, Timothy Latham is going to have the lead over Oscar Jensen, and that is not what the field wants to see. Somebody that's already got 6 wins, 1 here last time, they do not want to see him up front right now.
No, and that's kind of been the story of his season. You know, there's a lot of guys that we've seen run up close and run with Timothy Latham, and every time he knocks off another win, you know, it's tough to say, hey, we had a shot at that, and Timothy Latham notched another one. You know, so obviously the guys following him, the one that I note most, as he said, Benjamin D definitely does not want to see that 5 car in front of him right now. He's in the playoffs, but he's not locked into the playoffs. So that's a big thing. Sean, do we have the ability to look one more time at our playoffs here as we're under caution?
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Let's go back to our current playoff picture. Now, keep in mind that this was just before the race, so this does not include the points where we're at right now. But you can see that cut line, but I mean, take a look at some of the damage that's been done. Dennis Ansman got into a little bit of trouble earlier. Benjamin D, he's going to gain some ground as long as he stays clean here. But then Mark Kuda, Jeremy Boucher, Jason Tripp, all of them have had issues today. So Jordan Sailors might have a shot to gain some ground. Whew.
And another one there, the 20th position also, he's been, Jordan Sailors just watching. Back to the points, though, PJ Engelken's right now running 6th. Now, of course, he's 69 points below the cut. However, right now, with these guys, Mark Kuda running in 19th right now, 7 laps down. So, depending on what happens with some of these other cars, Kuda could pick up a few more spots. But obviously, Engelken's right now is setting about 13 spots above Mark Kuda in the cut line, so he leads a lap. That's a bonus point, you know, trying to get all you can get. So even that 69th or 69 points back there in 20th of PJ Engelken's could turn it around. You know, you never know what's going to happen. We are going green, though. Back up front, Timothy Latham for the first time tonight. Going to lead us back from a restart, Sean, and he's going to be on the loud pedal now and rocketing off into turn 1. The arrows behind him, the flying arrows, followed by Justin Boyles there in 5th place. So we'll see how this one is just about to click off lap 100 and a few more laps here, lap 98. and we're closing this thing down pretty quickly, Sean.
Well, you can see Timothy Latham got a great start there, but when you get teamed up with other people, that you can just catch them really, really quickly. So they're okay if he has a good little start there, as long as they can get teamed up and draft up there with them.
I tell you, if we get together and wad up some cars here, the car that's just back of this pack is that 93 we were just talking about, PJ Engelkens. He slid back a couple on the restart, but maybe by design we see a lot of teammates here. The Arrows and the 97, 51, the 49, the Marbles, the 48 and 15, FPR, Flashpoint Racing, the 8 and the 5, and Daniel Dow back there at the back of the pack. So those were a little bit out of order, but that's how the teams break down right now. And, you know, anything could happen here still with a little over 40 to go.
Well, and Justin Boyles takes a nice little lead just really, really quickly there. But like you were saying, your pick, Danny Dow, that number 21 car, it's actually number 2 on the scoreboard. But Danny Dow up there in that lead pack. So your pick's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's still following your picks right now, and that's tough to say because these marbles are so solid. I mean, that's a lot of Q Series drivers up here mixing it up, and that's one thing that you know PJ Engelkens does not want to see. Talking about him again, because those guys are taking up points that could count for him that he's not going to get if they finish ahead of him. So you see Tyler Marble making just going to door the 51 of Oscar just a little bit, but making a charge yet again. The Marbles, Daniel Dow, qualifying series guys are coming to play late in this thing, but I think these Cup Series regulars that we've seen are not going to let that one go down so easy here, Sean.
Well, if you take a look, then all 3 of those qualifying series drivers all pitted on lap 95. All these other non-qualifying series, these are the regulars up here, they all pitted on lap 86. So the freshest tires out there are the... we got Danny Dow gets out of shape.
Good save, but a slide off of turn 2 for that number 2 back there. Way to gather that back up, and you know he hates to see that, and I'm sure he got tires on that pit stop, as you mentioned. Lap 95 to, I think you said 86, correct?
That's correct. So 9 laps difference. Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out here. Now, of course, obviously, we cannot make it to the end, but one thing I want to touch on right now, Jeremy Boucher has parked that race car. So maybe, you know, that's... Timothy Latham knocking the wall down off of 2. We've got chaos everywhere here. That's going to hurt the 5 cars. We see him fall like a rock back through the field. Maybe drove it a little bit hard. But as I was saying, Boucher has parked the number 4 race car for the evening. So he did disconnect from the race tonight. So that's obviously going to hurt him a little bit in the points. But just as we mentioned, those guys behind him trying to fight for that spot.
And take a look at those marbles. Now, they did get out of shape there a little bit, but they were able to get right back on the track. And here they are in 2nd and 3rd. So both marbles trying to go to work on Oscar Jensen, last stage as winner.
Yeah, and I'm just looking back at the 5 car. A lot of damage, heavy damage to that 5 machine. So we'll see. I don't expect he's back with his teammate now, Dakota Jorgensen, as Jeff Marble trying to take the lead and is going to do so, but here comes thunder and lightning. The Tyler Marble machine following. Big squeeze. Oscar Jensen knew he needed to get that air and follow these guys, so big squeeze there down the track that they went. But as I said, heavy damage to the 5 car, so unfortunately may not see the back-to-back from our defending Michigan champion here. Anything could still happen, of course, but obviously that's going to hurt the chances of that happening. I know the damage doesn't look a lot there, but seeing it from the cockpit, you can see the left front and the right front are both... well, it's about to get worse. Good save, though, by Timothy Latham.
He's
driving
still in it. Wow. What a drive. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
now
there
you see
the damage on the left side and on the right. Maybe a bit on the driver's side door now as he comes to contact with the 44 now of Thomas Rutherford there. So good night for Timothy Latham. Just turned rough, and hopefully doesn't get any worse, because I know that's a tough way to kind of kill your momentum a little bit heading into the playoffs as a points leader. So tough break.
And it's really, really tough to recover from something like that because, again, no fast repairs here. So even if he does go into the pits, he's going to have to take a little bit of time to repair that damage in order to get that aero package back in. But I don't think he has time tonight.
No, I think he's a little out of time tonight, and realistically, even if he had more time, just as we mentioned earlier, just the smallest bumps and bruises on those race cars really hurt the aero package. And, you know, it's never what you want to see for a top series driver, but just as we look back up front, the marbles have settled in on their new tires, but that third place car, the 8 of Justin Boyle, still yet not letting him get away from it. So the new tires starting to surface. I see Daniel Dow has made it to the 5th position, so those guys that took tires aren't coming to the front using those tires. We see Oscar, who led there for a while, slide back to 4th, and looks like he's going to be able to ride there for just a little while before he sees a challenge from behind him. But we're starting to close down, Sean, on the end of this race. Do you think that Marbles had the strategy there, the right time to pit?
Well, you know, honestly, they kind of had an advantage, and you touched on this a little bit earlier, where points don't matter to these two. And so they can play a different strategy than everyone else because the finish line doesn't really matter to them. So the only finish line that matters to them is the very, very last one. And so I think they may have played a little bit of fuel strategy there.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. And you know, maybe if we wind up with another caution here, maybe we can get with, we do have, for the first time in the IVCS, we do have a in-race reporter we can go to calling strategy. So we'll see if we get the ability to go to him and see maybe what he thinks the strategy will be moving forward here, Sean.
Sounds great. Let's. I'm not hoping for another caution, but that would make another caution a little bit more fun.
Yeah, and had I thought about it, you know, had I knew that the Marbles here and Dow pitted, obviously we would have brought him up a little sooner. So maybe as the racing cycles down here a little bit, we may still be able to squeeze in an interview there real quick. But definitely if we see another caution late in this thing, we will reach out and grab our in-race reporter. Again, want to focus real quick back to the chat. 22 watching yet again. You guys smash that thumbs up button. Give us the likes. Feel free to drop the subscribe. Speed Racing Network is going to continue to bring you the best racing action in motorsports on iRacing. So looking forward to all of you guys, and thank you to those who have stuck out here with us. A lot of guys pulling for different drivers, a variety of who we want to see win here, and a lot of them still having a great... Oh, we're going to see Tyler Marble get a little bit loose down there in front of the 8 machine.
Yeah, we are very, very fortunate, Speed Racing Network, to be able to call this race. Unfortunately, Josh Medlock is feeling under the weather tonight. We wish him very, very well. We hope he gets back soon. Great announcer, great broadcaster. We really appreciate watching him every single week. He does a fantastic job, so get well soon.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for me. That was the next day that I was going to... I know, man, I know how you are with your broadcast, and it's your pride and joy, buddy, but sometimes the sickness gets the best of us. So, we're going to see Boyles get loose
Boyles!
again.
Can he save it?
I believe he got that race car. He's going to slide back into the clasp of Oscar, though. Oscar going to be able to reach out and maybe take that spot. He's going to get a run. But Joshua Medlock, buddy, as he said, we wish you the best. I'm not sure if you're still with us here. I know he tuned in earlier, but hopefully you do get to feeling better in the next few days, man, and it goes away quickly.
Let's jump back up front where the Marbles have opened up almost a 1-second lead over Justin Boyles after Justin kind of let that car get a little loose. And so we're about to see them kind of tag team this field. Maybe if they can get just a little bit further out in front, maybe everybody else will be racing for third.
Yeah, and that time by, just looking at the lap times, the 3 fastest drivers, first, second, and fourth. Obviously, Boyles had the slide, so his lap time was a little slower, but Oscar Jensen still, as these guys check out a little bit, still running relatively close to what the leaders are running. So, you know, on older tires, but really just seeing, we'll check them again here at the line and see the difference of the Marbles and Oscar Jensen back there, as well as Justin Boyles. 414 from Tyler Marble to a 666 from Jensen. So that time was a little bit different. Ooh, going to have some lap traffic playing a part there. Ooh, Daniel Dow slowed.
he jumped into the pits. So he jumped in the pits. He's going to short pit this thing, it looks like. But not a bad idea. There's still 27 laps to go in this race. I think he's going to go from here and try to finish this way.
Yeah, and that's huge. And here's why. You know, we see these guys right now, we were just talking, they're running in the lower end lap times. So fast laps for these guys in the low 38s. This time by our leaders, we're running 39.6s. So right now, Daniel Dow, if these guys don't pit, he has the fastest race car on the track just automatically by design. These guys are on old tires. He can go to the end. He was running just behind the leaders, right behind Oscar Jensen. Started to fade a little bit to the arrows behind him, but went ahead and brought that car down pit road. And now here we are. He's got a chance to steal it. And I'm curious to see, I know our leaders didn't slow there, so they're not pitting. Boyles isn't pitting. Keep a watch on how long these guys go. They're waiting for another caution, if they're going to play their own strategy, because right now, unfortunately for the 8 car, those 2 cars in front of them are saving more fuel than he is because they're nose to.
Well, even though Danny Dow is a lap down right now, technically, keep in mind, I mean, if we go green, then all this is going to cycle right back through. And right now, he is probably running the best lap times out there.
Yeah, and I'll keep a watch this time by. I see, okay, he has not passed the start-finish line yet, so I'll watch his lap time and let you know in comparison. We see Boyles, though. Boyles is bringing it down right now. Doesn't want him to get too big of an advantage. Still waiting for a lap time for Dow. Maybe it didn't update, but 39.6 is where we see our leaders run that time.
And Danny Dow just ran a 39.3 the last lap, and now looks like it's going to be a 39.2.
Yeah, so definitely faster. And each and every lap that he's running, obviously his lap times are a little slower than the low 38s you were talking about, because those are all going to be draft laps. We even had 137 right now. Oscar Jensen still holds the fastest lap of the race, but Danny Dow, we'll see here how he's going to cycle out with Justin Boyles, who just left his pit box. So there you see
Oscar Jensen going into the pits.
Oscar bringing it down pit road. So there we saw the 20. That looks like the 21 that just drove by Justin Boyles, if I'm not mistaken. So that much of a gap right now, I would say, and not that many laps on the tires for the number 2 machine. Really looking to hopefully cycle through and gain a little bit. Maybe a hair early, in my opinion, though, Sean, to bring that car down. By the time we get to the end of this, we'll see, though. The one thing that I do want to focus on, I see we do have the marbles on screen, which it's a little bit different now, but the marbles, however, have been swapping that lead back and forth. We saw Jeff out front for a while, so Tyler was able to save gas. Then we saw Tyler take the lead from Jeff, and he took over the race lead. So really interesting to see what happens from here, Sean.
Well, really, they pitted on lap 95. There's no way they can make it to the end. That'd be 45 laps. It's not going to happen. So they are going to have to pit at some point. The question to me, and then obviously when they pit, everything's going to cycle through, but are they just trying to gain as much time on the field as possible right now and hope that somebody makes a mistake?
Yeah, and I definitely think that's the case. As a matter of fact, we've got a little bit of cycle here out to the leaders and where they're cycling out. Would you like to maybe get with our in-race reporter and see what he thinks of the strategy?
Yeah, let's call him in here.
All righty, let's see if we can bring him up to the booth here. David Duke, Brandon Browning, and Sean Griffith in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir, I do, gentlemen. Just enjoying the broadcast and the race.
Oh, we appreciate that, man. The one thing that we want to check with you here, the strategy that we've seen, a lot of these, David, have come down and made their pit stops. How do the marbles that we see out front now make their strategy work amongst the strategy of the rest of the leaders?
I think they're banking on a yellow to come out. They're going to have to pit, I think, about 5 to 10 laps short of the finish. It's going to hurt them at the end. That's why I brought my guys down a little bit early with about 30 to go. We can go about 35 laps. I just had to try to make up some ground the best I could. We were losing ground, and I'm going to try to steal a couple of positions here.
Yeah, and again, as we touched before, we watched the 2-car of Daniel Dow make his pit stop with about 30 to go. David Duke calling the action for him. We see the Arrows, the 97 and 49, making their way down pit road. But the strategy for Daniel Dow and the other guys in Speed Racing Network, what kind of, as you said, you wanted to steal a few spots, but I know we saw Daniel be fast, and prior to the little bit of damage, Jordan Sailors was fast. Do you think they have what it takes to really run up here and like you said, steal off a couple spots and maybe now finish ahead of those marbles who are running late on tires?
I think we do. We gambled way early in the race and experimented with the 2-tire stop at that lap 8 caution. If we do get a caution late, we might look at doing that to try to steal a little spot off of pit road to see where we can hang with them. But I think we got, I think we got a top 5 car if it shakes out right.
Well, looks like
Go
Jeffrey
ahead.
Marble just pitted. Tyler Marble's still sitting out there, but that has allowed Danny Dow to get back on the lead lap, I think. So once Tyler Marble pits, Danny Dow's definitely going to be up there fighting for it.
Yeah, and the one last thing that I wanted to steal, and I don't want to take too much away from the strategy. If you don't answer this question, back with the guys down there. If we see that late race caution, Tyler Marble bringing it to pit road, do you guys have a set left to dabble with?
Yes, we do.
Alrighty, so you heard it first. So you heard it first from David Duke, our in-race reporter, calling the shots for the Speed Racing Network drivers. Buddy, we appreciate the interview. We'll get you back down there with those guys in case we get that caution. Thank you for your time tonight, bud.
All right, as we let him go, Justin Boyles looks like he's going to come around, and he is likely going to assume the lead right here because Tyler Marble is in the pits. And so he is going to go out into the lead as he passes, looks like the number 3 on the car at least. So that's Joshua Taylor. So he's passing him. But Justin Boyles is going to take the lead. And we were just talking about Danny Dow. So he is up in 7th place right now. He is trying to catch those marbles that are back out on the track. So he has not quite caught them yet.
Yeah, and it looks like now that the problem with that, and as we talk to our in-race reporter there and we're able to squeeze him up here, we do have a set. So if we see a caution later, we'll expect to see the 21, and I'm sure some other guys. That I didn't know if they had planned to use all of their tires, so it's good to hear. Oh, we see someone down there smoking it getting into pit road.
I think that was Richard Springer is what it looks like. Yeah, he is definitely smoking.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had some contact, but no caution nonetheless. But as I was saying, that does mean that some of these drivers, I don't want to say all, some of these drivers still have a set of tires left. But right now, just looking, a 7.3 is the difference between Jeffrey Marble and Justin Boyles after that pit stop. So right now, I think Jeffrey Marble's about to knock off 3rd place with Greg Edney. Not sure that he's pitted yet. Maybe little bit of odd strategy, but he's closing in. Benjamin D there right on the coattails of Jeff Marble. So that right there, that I will say that as you see, the 15 and the 97 is going to be the biggest difference. Those cars and the 48, as we see coming behind them, those 97, the Flying Arrows pitted just a few laps before the Marbles did, and you see the gap that has created there. 97 is back up there running with those guys. And however, just as we mentioned now, 6.5 up to Boyles. So Boyles may have played his strategy and his cards right, depending on what we see late in this race. Now, obviously, the tires are newer for the Marbles and the Flying Arrows, but Boyles doing all he can, Sean, to put this one away.
Yeah, we were asked earlier to go inside Boyles' car, so here we go. And he's got nothing but clear skies in front of him, and really he's got a second lead over Oscar Jensen. So right now the key is just keep the car on the track, keep the pedal to the metal, don't burn the tires too hard, and get it to the finish line here in 15 laps.
Yeah, and you see, you can see just how hot that road.
Whoa, and he almost lost it.
That's not what you want to do as a leader. That's going to hurt the lead over Jensen. But you see just how hard, even though he said, green racetrack ahead of him, not a worry in the world right now for Boyles, except that 51 in his rear view. And unfortunately, being that slick, that's not what you want to see. Jeffrey Marble got held up a little bit. 5.4 is the gap. He had it down, but that's the race for the lead right here. The new tires, I think, besides obviously Oscar Jensen, these guys have played their strategy and cycled through as third on the leaderboard. Really got to run laps. We'll see this time the difference between Boyles and the Marbles as far as lap time goes, and we'll actually throw Oscar in the loop as well. Should be running 39s, I would imagine. Right now, let's see, 39.508 for Boyles, 39.055 for Oscar, and a 38.6 for Jeffrey Marbleshon. So much faster than the guys in front of him.
Yeah, but don't count out Oscar Jensen right now. And I know we haven't talked about him too much between Boyles and Marble, but Oscar Jensen is going to put it to him. He is going to go down to the inside. He is going to take the lead here.
Yeah, and Oscar, if there's one thing that they have a spotter calling, it's going to be the fact that, hey, that 15 car is coming, and he's got a train of cars behind him. He's got the 97 behind him. Zach York's fallen back quite a bit there after his pit stop, but Benjamin D is right with those Marbles that are in front of him. Again, Tyler's going to get past the 97 you see there and hook back up with old Dad and try to make something happen. The problem for the Marbles, though, when they get there, that pink and black car behind them, the one that we haven't seen win yet, but he's in the playoffs, Benjamin D. We saw him win stage 1. He's put together a solid run. And if by chance these Marbles catch the leaders, Benjamin D will be there too, Sean.
Yeah, and those Marbles are working together. They're trying to get up there. And man, it is going to be a very, very tight race for the finish. But up front, we have Oscar Jensen in first place, and Justin Boyles has fallen back to second, but he is still hanging within 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, and that's really, I know what it's like for Justin Boyles right now. It just tires, man. He took tires early and hoped, and you see, just as we talked about Daniel Dow too, they got those tires early and had hoped. Oh, caution!
Oh, this is going to change everything.
There's two drivers right now that did not want to see that. It's the 51 of Oscar Jensen and the 48 of Tyler Marble, who was running second fastest laps on the racetrack. So
I'm not really sure where that caution happened. I did not see it. Let's go back to a rec replay here.
See if maybe we can find this one out here.
I do see it. It's Chad. It looks like Chad kind of fell off pace. I'm not really sure what happened to cause that caution.
So it looks like just what I'm seeing. If it's that right there, if it's that moment right there,
I don't see anything here that caused. Is he out of gas?
Could be out of gas. Could be deciding to pull over and bring that car to a stop. Hopefully not the second. Maybe he was ending his day, but deciding that was it for him. But could be running out of gas as well. See him slowing rather rapidly there. So maybe he was trying to get off the track real quick, call his day, and unfortunately caution going to come out as a result nonetheless. But not what you wanted to see, if you're the fastest car on the racetrack at the Marbles and Benjamin D there. But doesn't matter now, Sean. We're reset. We're in the pits, and we're going to ride down the pit lane here. It looks like with Oscar Jensen. We'll see. Let's watch for the right sides up, so we know he's taking right side. Same for Boyles. Same for the 97. No games being played. 4 tires for as far as we can see amongst the top running cars here. So.
Well, I'll show you a game up front. Jordan Sailors did not pit. So Jordan Sailors is going to assume the lead. That number 77 there, Mark Kuda, he is a few laps down. So Jordan Sailors is the one that is going to take the risk with 9 laps to go and stay out. Maybe we should talk to him. Maybe we should get him in here and find out what he's thinking.
Let's see if we can steal Jordan Sailors real quick. Oh, actually, we're not going to be able to steal Jordan Sailors. I did remember hearing them say a moment ago, I don't think, we'll try to steal him, but I don't think he has a mic, Sean. I think he's had issues with his mic. Let me pull him up real quick. Jordan Sailors, it's Brandon Browning and Sean Griffith in the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All righty, so we do have a mic for you here, Jordan. Rolling the dice, 9 to go. What kind of strategies went into this thing to maybe try to steal a win here, Jordan?
I'm not rolling the dice. I missed pit road there, so.
Oh, okay.
I've already got some good stage points today, so I'm just trying to get out here with a solid top 10.
Yeah, I've
And,
been super impressed with that 55 car tonight. Rode alongside, rode inside the car myself, and the broadcast got a lot of airtime. And man, you've been driving the wheels off of that thing. I know you got a little bit of damage earlier, but it's a big race here. I'm sure you're aware. Some of the guys around the cut line, Tim.
Oh yeah, I'm 42 points out, so yeah.
I tell you what, if you can put together a good one here tonight, it will be a wonderful day for you, buddy.
Yeah.
So. Going to get you back down, though. I see the lights are off on the pace car. I know you got to catch up, but just wanted to see kind of what was in store there, man. And I'll get you back down with your team. Good luck at the end of this thing. See if you can capitalize those points, buddy.
Yeah, I hope to.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, that was our mistake, but man, that would have made an interesting story if he was the one that stayed out there. That would have been a lot of fun.
It certainly would have, and here's why. If he's the leader, he controls the restart. So all these other guys with new tires would have then put him on the spot that they can't beat him to the line. So if they get together behind him, we go green, white, checkered, a lot of cars involved, then we see Jordan Saylor steal one, but we'll have to see him do it from behind here, Sean. Late race restart. Get us going, buddy. We're going green this time.
Man, I'm going to tell you really quick before we go green, look at third place and fifth place. The marbles are back-to-back here, so that is a scary thought for everybody else. But that pace car is going to drop off, and we're going to have Oscar Jensen bringing us to the green flag with 8 to go. We're going to be at 7 to go when we get to the line. So Oscar Jensen, there on the inside, he's holding back. He's trying to lull Justin Boyles to sleep. And now he takes off.
And just as you called that restart there, I don't think that's the last yellow flag we're going to see. There's a lot on the line here for these drivers, so.
And I'm not sure. I think I saw Timothy Latham there on the inside, passing somebody on the inside. I'm not sure if that's going to be allowed or not. We will take a look at that. That was before the start-finish line.
Heard him come across driver chatter just a moment ago and say he did, in fact, get a black flag there. So we'll see how that plays out for the 5 car. Obviously, rough night for him. Didn't get the damage fixed, I'm sure. Had quite a bit of it there. But race up front, though, Sean. Here comes that maybe.
Oh, we are 3 wide for second.
Whew. Oscar's got to be enjoying this, but he knows they're coming.
And here comes Justin Boyles on the outside trying to make a run out there, but he's kind of all by himself out there. And then on the inside, we have one of the marbles, and then the second marble right behind him. This is going to get really interesting.
I was waiting.
Oh, and we got contact.
Oh, no.
Oh, and Jeffrey Marble gets spun.
I think he got into the 97 Benjamin D
I
there.
believe you are correct. No. We are going to go to a rec replay and find out. Let's take a look and see what we can see here. Yep, and it looks like the 97 Benjamin D gets spun, gets down into marble. Oh, and he goes up on his top. So that is basically going to end his night. What a great run for him, but man, what a sad, sad result.
I tell you, one of the big things for me here that's notable, and we're seeing those, Sean, is we talked to him a moment ago. Jordan Saylor's in that 55 car trying to make it in. That's another front runner, maybe 2 that are going to have too much damage to finish out this race ahead of him. So that may be another 2 spots for Jordan Saylor's, and even again another name we mentioned, PJ Engelkens, who was running 6th there. Those 2 guys in front of him going to bring them up a little bit into the race picture. Man, such a hard hit after a beautiful run from the 97 of Benjamin D there, Sean.
Yeah, and it just looked like, I'm going to see this at full speed one more time. It looks like he and Boyles just kind of got into one another. Not really sure if there's really fault there. Boyles is kind of holding his line. I think that's just a racing incident. That stuff happens when you're 3 wide like that. There's not enough room to play like that. So yeah, it's a sad day for Benjamin D. Really, what a great race he put on. And then also, if you take a look at at Marble here. So Jeffrey Marble gets up into the wall. He's going to have some damage. Not sure how much that's going to affect him.
Just what I'm watching on the racetrack right now. Not sure if he did just pit to fix that damage. Doesn't look like it.
Not
Not
yet.
sure if he's riding there or maybe trying to decide. Yeah, he's going to blend back on the racetrack. So I don't know that he's going to come down and try to fix that damage, kind of just ride it out and see where he ends up. But
Yeah, I mean, he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and one thing that's done here is those guys that have those tires. So if you look at our top 5, Oscar Jensen and Justin Boyles, obviously they don't have any damage right now, or very minimal damage, sorry. Moving back, Jeffrey Marble right now in 3rd place. We saw him involved in that accident. Got a little bit of damage. We'll see if he pits to take it. Moving back, the other Marbles, Tyler Marble, behind him is Zach York. Zach York was in an incident earlier, but he showed speed and not really had damage. So this is going to open up an opportunity with those cars being in front of him for him and Tyler to get up there and maybe challenge Boyles and Jensen for the win. Of course, Timothy Latham behind him. A little bit of damage. Goes back again. Go ahead, Sean.
Let's see if we can get Boyles up here really quickly. I know we're about to go to 1 to go, but let's see if we can grab him really, really fast and just ask him if he has anything left.
All righty.
Justin Boyles, how's it going, buddy?
Stressful.
Well, we see you're in 2nd. You've been up towards the front all day long. What have you got left here?
I don't know, man. It's fresh tires here. This is practically Talladega for 2 laps. I like the high side, but I don't know if I can carry enough momentum and stay on Oscar's quarter panel to be able to get the run. So I think probably going to have to get clear here and cross them over and get to the inside of them. But I don't know. We'll see. I just got to hope that we don't wreck, too. That's a big thing here.
Well, I do want to jump in real quick. Boyles, we won't hold you but just another second. No pressure. But we've seen Dad in the chat today, Mark Boyles, pulling for you to go out and do this thing. So he felt like you had a good car last time at Michigan and wants to see you do it this time.
Yeah, man, let the last one get away from us. So we'll see what we can do.
We will go ahead and get you down with your team as we're entering turn 3 here, buddy. Good luck on the finish of this one. Maybe we'll see you in a few laps.
10-4, buddy. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, let's reset really quickly. Oscar Jensen up in 1st place. Justin Boyles, last time around at Michigan, he took 2nd. And so here he is, same spot. Then Jeffrey and Tyler Marble back in 3rd and 4th. But don't count out Zach York back there in the 49 either. So a lot of racing to go, even though there's only 2 laps. 2 laps. We're going green, white, checker.
Yeah, and this one isn't going to be the first green-white checkered that we see, Sean. So the pace car has made its way off. We could see 3 more of these restarts. Oscar Jensen putting him to sleep again, and he's off. Maybe for the final time, maybe not.
Great restart for Oscar Jensen. Jumps out front. Looks like Marble's going to jump down. Tyler Marble's going to jump down. Oh, no! Oh!
See that one coming. Oh, no, other cars involved.
No. Oh, man, what a wreck. And that is, let's see if we can go back and take a look and see.
As we see this one here, Sean, I saw this one coming and didn't want to cut you off to call it. This was the game that Jeffrey Marble played. There you're going to catch the tail end of it. He had damage. He was slower. He was holding up the 49 who had no damage and a lot of real estate there that he was trying to gain and nowhere to go.
Yeah, and then York got back out on the track and takes out a couple others. Looks like the 54, I believe that's Ted Pullen there, so one of the crowd favorites. He is going to get some damage as well. So, oh, man, all sorts of damage, and we are going to go another green-white checker. But that should end a couple of the guys' days.
Yeah, I think that's it for Jeff Marble. I don't think that car is under power anymore. I think we saw it pretty much retire itself. As far as Zach York goes, looks like he drove away, but not sure. Like I said, he's locked in. He may just may not have time to get his damage repaired either.
Yeah. Ted Pullen coming down as well, trying to get some stuff fixed really quickly and hopefully try to pull a little bit of a finish out of this. He is technically still on the lead lap, but he did get some damage there. Let's see if he can do anything on this next restart. Okay, well, we've got 2 more of these green-white checkers, don't we?
Yeah, no, we have 3 more green-white checkers.
Oh.
this one is going to register as the first official. Now, this one, a green-white checker, typically is when the race is extended, and that's what we're going to see here. That last one that we saw was still inside of lap 140. That would have been lap 139, and lap 140 we would have completed. However, this time we're extending the race, and we're going to go beyond those measures and see what happens here, Sean.
So we still got the same two up front, Oscar Jensen, Justin Boyles, and we saw Oscar Jensen kind of lay back, lull Justin Boyles to sleep. He's been doing it all night long, and then he takes off, gets a nice restart. Can he do it again?
I think if you're Oscar Jensen, it's a green-white checker for the first official time. You can't do that again. Boyles has watched it and watched it and watched it. He's going to be ready. I think if you're Jensen, you got to go as soon as you can go. You've got to take off and rocket ship this restart. The guys behind you are going to be expecting that slow and winding restart, but it may not come. You know, he may take off. And just looking at our top five, we saw a lot of damage to that 5 car, but he's sitting back in 4th place, Sean, not giving up. And these guys are making it easy for him not to give up as they continue to knock themselves out of the top 5 just beyond him. The driver that we saw earlier, the 20th position in points, 69 points out of the playoffs right now. PJ Engelken's got 2nd last week, and he, as long as nothing changes, may pull together another top 5 here. So that's proven big for his opportunity to try to close in on some of these point contenders that we saw have a tough time.
You know, you're a driver, Brandon, and you have gone through 22 weeks of seeing Timothy Latham basically dominate this league, 6 wins, and then you see him spin a couple times, or at least get a little bit out of shape, get a little bit of damage a couple times, and then you see him up front challenging for the win again. How upset are you?
If I'm his teammate in the 8 car, I'm ecstatic that he's still there because you know he's going to push me. If I'm these other guys, 48, 51, the 93 of Engelken's, you hate to see it. It's one thing that you don't want to see, and not to mention the off-season racing that we saw. I think Latham had another 5 wins in their off-season league that they done. So we've seen him in victory lane a lot in this series. So it's tough, especially when you know like Oscar and Justin up there in the front row, they've been fast, but they can't get away from that 5 car in their mirror no matter what they do. And it's got to be a little bit sickening almost to know that after all the damage, he's still right there, Sean.
Well, I got to point out a couple more cars before we get back to green here. The number 4 that is out on the track, it's the number 44 on your scoreboard. This is Thomas Rutherford. We talked about him earlier. He just goes smooth, goes steady, and then he's there at the end of the race. And there he is. And then right next to him, your pick of the night, Danny Dow.
I'm hoping Danny Dow can make something happen here. We are coming off of turn 4, so if there's a time for Danny Dow to do it, it's right now. But Oscar Jensen is the control man. We'll see if he changes the restart and goes a little earlier. Doesn't look like it right now, but we'll see. I tell you, Tyler Marble's ready as he's on the pedal, and he's gone again, man. It's beyond me a little bit that they let him pull that off so many times, Sean, in the way he restarted this thing.
Well, and it kind of looked like Justin tried to time it, and he pushed on the gas just a hair, and that's when he had to back off a little bit, and Oscar took off. So another restart game being played by Oscar and being played very, very well. So good job for him.
Oh, a no-win situation.
Oscar, Boyles!
Oh, no, Tyler Marble.
Oh, and let's see if he comes back on track.
Got him.
Oh, yep, and we are going to have another yellow flag. He came back on the track. Nothing he could do about it, taking out Thomas Rutherford in the process, who we just talked about. Oh, goodness. Here we go again. Brandon, are we going to get a finish here?
Well, we're coming to the point where we really don't have a choice, and I think I got to apologize firsthand to Thomas Rutherford tonight. We've mentioned him twice on the broadcast and how consistent he's been, and we see him collected in incidents both times. So I do apologize to you, Thomas. That's a little bit of our
and Jordan
curse,
Sailors.
That's the one I was about to touch on, the 55 car of Jordan Sailors trying to string together a good finish here. Didn't get it done, though, because of the damage, and that was out of the control of the 48. You know, he was down in the grass at full speed. But, you know, a lot of drivers I'm hearing not too happy with the way he drove that. But realistically here, you see him at full speed. Doesn't really know what's going to happen. Boyles pulls the nose to the gap, and ever so slightly they come together. So here at this point, there's not a whole lot Tyler can do but lock up the brakes and pray. And I will say, in the defense of the drivers I'm hearing, he didn't do that, Sean. He drove it back out, and I'm not sure what he thought was going to happen there when he hit the racetrack, but not obviously what he intended to do. Lost control as soon as he hit the concrete or the pavement back there, and it's got to be getting nerve-wracking for Oscar. Oh, are we gonna see? Thought he was gonna. Oh, I thought we were coming to the pit lane there for Oscar, but he come down a little bit. But nerve-wracking for Oscar in first place, and now there's a car in second place that we have not mentioned in this broadcast
At all.
Does not have a win, who is not locked in. That's Greg Edney in the number 30 car. Daniel Dow in third in the 21. So these guys come into play now late in this thing, Sean. We have not mentioned them before this, but here they are.
Well, your pick is out there in third place. My picks, both of them are back at least one lap. So it looks like my day is done on my picks. I think that is part of the broadcaster's curse. Hopefully that does not happen to Danny Dow. He has run a fabulous race tonight.
Yeah, and he's been another one of those drivers that we haven't really awful lot about being at the front. Now, we've mentioned him being my pick and some of his strategies, as we talked with David Duke earlier in our in-race reporter. So we see him surfacing here, and obviously another one of those guys that come from the Q Series. Actually, the only one I'm seeing left in the top 7 now. Of course, Tyler Marble back in 8th. 1 lap down from the damage. It's still sitting on pit road. So not a whole lot of drivers here. Now, here's the thing, Sean, that I want to point out. If by chance, and I don't want to wish bad on anyone, but if by chance the 51 gets involved in an incident, that would leave it for some of these guys, because I don't know that these guys have anything for Oscar up in the front unless it's Boyles. They've ran close, but of course a green-white checkered, anything could happen. But we've seen all of our guys that have run up front and been fast get involved in something here, but we have not seen that happen to the 51, and that's how he's able to hold this lead, Sean.
All right, well, I got to tell you, there are only 7 cars on the lead lap now. Only 7. And who is 7th? He just pitted Timothy Latham.
I was watching that a little bit, and I'm going to go back here while we get going, try to give you a yes or no. But if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that was, let's see, was it just for damage? No, it was not, Sean. 4 fresh tires on that 5 car right now. So we will see how it plays out. Go ahead and get us going this time through the corner.
Well, and I'll tell you, so he's still 13 seconds behind the pack, but he is up to speed. So if he times this out correctly, this could get very, very interesting. And no, it looks like he made it to the back of the pack. So here we go. Pace car is going to drop off. We are going to get another green-white checker here. But we have Oscar Jensen bringing us to the line on the top side this time. Greg Edney, the surprise of the day, up front as well. And there goes Oscar Jensen, gets a good restart. He's got a good push from Justin Boyles as well. But Greg Edney is going to stick there on the bottom line, and he is going to try to give something here.
Yeah, and that's, I think that was where Justin needed to be, so hopefully damage is not playing a part in that 8 car not being there. But Greg Edney coming alive now, and he's going to get a run down the backstretch on the 51. What can he do here? Oscar trying to shake the draft. Greg's going to follow and decide, hey, I'm going to put my nose here, Oscar. What are you going to do with it? So we see a lot of guys. Here comes Danny Dow on the outside trying to make that high line work.
Edney goes inside.
Edney with the crossover off. Oh, and Oscar's going to shut the door. Oh, no, white flag in the air. This is it. Whatever happens now happens, and it'll be our race. What can we see here? Maybe Greg Edney's going to steal this one away from Oscar. Maybe the power of that 51 machine might hold true, but they're side by side, and side by side is good for my pick back there trying to clear for third, Danny Dow. We'll see what happens down into the corner.
I think this is a two-car race, though. This is Oscar Jensen on the inside, Greg Edney on the outside. Greg is going to try to cross over to the bottom. He is not going to make it there. Oscar Jensen, Oscar Jensen is going to win the race here at the Motor City Mayhem 140 at Michigan.
Great finish by Greg Edney. Great amount of points scored there trying to quest his way in. We do want to give an update. We talked about him at the end of that caution. Timothy Latham drives it back to 5th. It's too far back to make some noise with the front guys, but great drive there from Greg Edney, showing up seemingly out of nowhere. And we're going to get to talk to him here in just a little while, Sean.
Absolutely. What a fantastic race. Let's take a look at our results. So Oscar Jensen, first place. Greg Edney only 0.033 seconds behind. He gave it everything he had. Danny Dow, your pick, third place, under a second away. And then Justin Boyles, also right at a second away, in 4th.
And that's the biggest thing. You know, you talk about those front four and a lot of damaged race cars. Great race put on by these guys, and a lot of what we'll see, you know, this was a 2-mile racetrack, but a lot of people look forward to these type of deals here, and we see Oscar burning it down. He knew that he had to reach up and give it everything he had there at the end of that one, because Greg wasn't letting him go to sleep tonight knowing it was easy. But a lot of these guys out there, you know, just PJ Engelken's bringing it home 6th, Ted Poland 7th, some guys that, you know, really needed a good day, got a good day, and some of those guys we talked about early that wanted to turn around their days did quite the opposite and kind of repeated, you know, what we saw before. Mark Kuda did. I do want to touch as we see Oscar continue to burn it down. Mark Kuda, did manage to pick up a few spots, ran 21st most of the race, going to bring it home 17th. So a little bit of damage control from a day gone bad for him, Sean.
Yeah, but we got Oscar Jensen up there in victory lane. Let's see if we can get third place in here. That was your pick, Danny Dow. Let's see if we can get him in here for a quick little interview and see how he's feeling. He, again, is a qualifier, so he had to earn his way into this race, and once he did, he showed that he belonged here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I'm going to try to see if we can get him up here in the booth with us now. There he is. Danny Dow, Brandon Browning, and Sean Griffith in the booth, buddy.
What's happening, guys?
I got to let you know, straight off rip, I don't know if they let you in on the secret. My pick to win this race was none other than Danny Dow himself, buddy. Great drive. Tell us a little bit about how the racetrack played out as you come through the finish there, Danny.
Man, this is the first time I've ever been to this track. I had to download it right before we raced, 0 practice laps, so just trying to get familiar with the track, and then just trying to work my way slowly up through the field without getting in anybody, trying not to hurt their points race as we went through the night, and got up to about 5th and come down pit road, and I overshot my pits, and that backed me up a little bit. But all in all, it was a great night, a good learning experience, and hats off to the guys up front. They did a good job all night to the very, last few cautions there.
Yeah, and certainly even more impressive, you didn't run any laps prior, so hats off to you, man. Like I said, I saw it, and I told Sean here before the race, I was like, man, something in my gut's telling me Danny Dow's going to put together a good showing here. So definitely just that. But one last question for you here, and I will let you go celebrate. What is it like being a qualifying series driver amongst all of these guys and knowing next year you're going to have the opportunity to run up here and actually win the points matter?
Man, it's just trying to earn everybody's respect, just doing your best to stay clean. I've made some mistakes late in runs that put me in a position I shouldn't have been, and just trying to learn and get better each race. And like I said, I believe we're making strides in doing that and learning how to race with these guys. These guys are very, very good, and just trying to earn their respect and work our way up.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you. I've had the pleasure, and like I said, I mentioned in the broadcast, I've had the pleasure of running alongside of you in a multitude of different races, man. And it's one of those things where if you're not there at the beginning, you can count on Danny Dow being there at the end, and that's a fact. That's not just an opinion. Before you go celebrate, Danny, any shout-outs or last words, comments that you'd like to make?
Yes, got to give a shout out to David Duke. He's the one that put the setup underneath the car tonight, and just my teammates telling me, lifting points, driving lines. Big thanks to SRN and all that Jason Tripp and everybody does for our racing, and also Silverback Tax Solutions. They sponsor us as well, and I'm very proud to have them on our car.
All right, buddy. Well, you definitely put on a show for all the sponsors involved, as well as Team Speed Racing Network. The broadcast brought to you by Speed Racing Network, and a great finish brought to you by Danny Dow. Danny, I'll get you back down there with the team, buddy, and you go celebrate that third place.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if we can't get Greg Edney, who put together a stellar run at the end, coming up just short. But, man, he stuck his nose in there. Let's see if we can't get him up here and see what he was thinking coming to the line.
All righty, I am looking for Greg Edney here, and as of do not see him in Discord. So let me see real quick, Sean, if maybe if I can get him up here real quick. Give me just a few seconds. If you'd like to take us further on down the race results, I do try to reach out to him.
Yeah, so Justin Boyles, who basically ran up front all night tonight, 4th place. Timothy Latham, who, again, our series leader. He's been all over this entire series, but he ran into just a little bit of trouble today, and that's what took him back to the back. He still finishes 5th on the lead lap. PJ Engelkens with a great finish. That is going to help him in the playoff chase. He came in 6th. Ted Pullen, one of the crowd favorites, he ended up getting onto that or staying on that lead lap. He was the last person on that lead lap, so he takes 7th. Then we have Joshua Taylor back 1 lap, and then Chad Gunningsman back 3 laps. And then after that, pretty much people just started falling off due to cautions and due to just bad luck all around. So really, really fantastic race. A few guys that really needed points today didn't get them, and a few guys that didn't really need them ended up all up front.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting to maybe hear back from Greg Edney, so we may have to jump straight to our leader of Oscar Jensen, but we'll give him another second. And you're exactly right, Sean. We had a situation where these guys really could have capitalized on the points, and really the only one that stands out to me, or the two rather, Ted Pullen obviously making his quest to try to make the playoffs, and PJ Engelkens, we saw him down in 20th. He was about 69 points back. There it is. Ted Pullen, we'll go back to him briefly. He's sitting up there. He's 120 points to the good, and the only thing that I can think of, and I saw Mike Pullen say, they had a junked race car from some incidents early, but brought it back, didn't give up, and finished 7th. So that's big for them. But, just as you mentioned, Sean, down there near the cut line, the only one that was still standing tall that didn't get caught up in anything was PJ Engelkens. So we'll see how that affects him. Even Tim Hendry back toward the back of the field there didn't have such a hot night either. So it's going to tighten in this race. Even though Tim Hendry's 100 to the good, anything can happen. But jumping back out front here, it looks like we're going to go ahead. Not able to catch up as of yet with Greg Edney, but we will go ahead and have Oscar Jensen, our winner, slid down in here, and we're going to get Sean Griffith live with his interview. Sean, I'm going to pull him down right now.
Oscar Jensen up front almost the entire race, took that second stage, and then brought it home for the victory. How does it feel?
Man, it feels good. We've lost a few races with late race cautions, and to finally be able to put it together feels amazing.
Well, this is your 3rd win, if I remember correctly, in the IVCS, and so that just puts you a little bit closer to Timothy Latham's lead there. Do you think you have something for him in the playoffs?
I think we probably do. Obviously, he's our biggest competitor right now, and he's fast and good each week. I think we're right there with him just about each and every week, and I think it'll be a good battle going into the playoffs.
Well, we had Greg Edney, who was there in 2nd place on that last restart, and kind of the surprise because we didn't talk about Greg Edney at all whatsoever until those last 3 laps, and then all of a sudden he puts his nose in there. What did you have to do to keep him behind you?
Well, I had a great spotters up there. Shout out to Grayson Sullivan. But to keep him behind me, I knew we still had damage from the earlier incidents with Boyles and Zach, and I knew our front and back straightaway speed were going to be a little bit off. And just basically, I'm a super speedway guy, so I just kind of, obviously this is kind of like a super speedway, so I just took some of that knowledge and I don't know what else to say, just knowledge on where to go, when to go.
I do want to jump in real quick, and I'm glad you said it like that, Oscar, because we're coming down to the end of the regular. First of all, congratulations, great run tonight. You were one of the guys that I kind of had and mentioned throughout the race that didn't really have the finish that you wanted last time through at Michigan, so this time was a great rebound for you. But you said something there that I wanted to touch on. You're catching your stride late into this season, and you said you were a restrictor plate guy. We've got 3 races left. We're going to Watkins Glen, we're going to Dover, and we're closing the regular season out at Daytona. Buddy, what is it going to take to maybe steal another win or two and keep that momentum rolling into the playoffs?
For me, it's just going to take consistency and make moves the best and smartest way I can do it. I know I've had a few wrecks within the past month that have really cost me some good finishes and fast cars. But it's just going to take consistency. Like I know Latham's usually consistent top 10, and I'm either a winner DNF type of person. So I just got to get this consistency going of finishing within the top 5 to top 10 area.
Well,
and I
finish.
definitely think you have that ability. I was about to finish it. I'll let Sean finish your interview. Congratulations again, buddy. And Sean will finish us out here with you.
Man, great finish tonight. Incredible run all the way from that second stage all the way forward. Never really had too big of a challenge. There were a couple guys up there, but it didn't look like anybody had anything for you. So fantastic race tonight. And I guess we're going to get you in Watkins Glen next week.
Yes, sir. Road courses. Not my favorite, but not my worst place. So,
well, buddy, have a good time. Go out there and celebrate. Congratulations tonight. Again, your third win of the season and catching up to Timothy Latham there in the playoff chase.
Yep. Quick thing, I'm just going to shout out my sponsors. Thanks to Premier Private Car Service, Book Construction, and Robert Montgomery, as well as Hale Goober.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you being here. Can't wait to see you next week and beyond.
Yep. Thank you guys for broadcasting tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, Brandon, it would go without saying that next week, going for Glory 60 at the Glen, Watkins Glen International, next week starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and that's going to be a drive, man. I mean, these guys, 60 laps at Watkins Glen, and, we've got drivers in the field, Timothy Latham, Justin Boyles, and some other guys here that really are known for their road course racing, but I would not count out anyone. As we've seen in the last 2 weeks, we've had names that haven't really been up front making a whole lot of noise early in the season. Last week, PJ Engelkens and Kendall LeVron coming out with a win, PJ Engelkens second. Tonight, Greg Edney in second, with PJ Engelkens with another great finish in 6th, Ted Pullen in 7th. So anything really can happen. Even a new name for me, Josh Taylor in the 3 car back there in 8th as well. So literally anything can happen as we close the season out, Sean.
Well, man, iRacing Virtual Cup Series, the IVCS, strong racing all around tonight. We are going to close it out with that, but join us next week for the Going for Glory 60 at the Glen, Watkins Glen International. Please join us. Please hit that like button. Everyone have a fantastic night.